Hello. Oh, no, I can't find my face. I have a little unicorn paddle. Unicorn paddle. This was sent to me and I thought it was so cute. Hello, good morning. I am shocked that I'm awake and conscious because I totally slept in this morning. I like to go hang out with Dustin on his Sunday morning chats, and I was like a half an hour late. I was like, hi, here I am. I'm usually up way earlier than that. How is everybody this morning? I feel like I haven't been live like on the channel in like forever. Let's just say hello to some people. Hello, hello. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, there's a lot of you. So hello, everybody. Hi. I'm really excited about this live stream because we are going to be addressing a bunch of common questions and issues people come up against when they are trying to learn the tarot. We're going to be talking about how you guys have been enjoying or not enjoying, or what your experiences on tarot with training wheels have been so far. Obviously, if you are also taking part in Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, you can bring those questions as well. I am just really excited to see you guys here and talk about learning tarot and all the good things. I have not even had my first sip of coffee yet. I saved it for you guys. You're welcome. Poor Dustin's chat. I was in there. Dustin is Modern Metaphysicae, in case you don't know who I'm talking about. But you should, because Dustin and I and Danny of Danny Mystic all have a collab channel called Three Fat Readers. There's always a link to that in the description box down below. If you haven't found it yet, please go check it out. We get together once a month and we talk. We're good friends, so we're always talking to each other, and we just once a month we do it publicly. That's basically it. Usually something tarot related. But hello to everybody joining. It's so great to see all your bright, shining faces. I say, but I can't see your bright, shining faces. But in my head, that made sense. Anyways, I have so many things. So I have in front of me, if you remember, when I first announced that I was going to be launching Tarot with Training Wheels, I put up a bit of a teaser video saying it was coming and asking if you guys wanted to share your most common problems with trying to learn the tarot. So I'm going to be going through those comments today on this live stream, and of course, answering your live questions as well. Oh no, could somebody not hear me? Are we good now? I ask as the dogs start to like bark. Hopefully everybody can hear me. And do speak up if something happens with the stream or with the sound. I usually can't do anything in the moment. It is, just so y'all know, really common where I live, right around either somewhere between 12 and 1 for like 30 seconds, my camera will, like my live stream will cut out, but I'll be back. I don't know why it does that. It's just a thing that happens, and it is like 11 o'clock my time. So sometime in about an hour or maybe 2, I don't know how long we're going to be on. I feel like we have a lot to cover, but we're just going to hang out and we'll see where it goes. Also, I feel like since we're, doing announcement things, and I really should take my first sip of coffee, right? Right. Also, Peggy is going to be hosting our next 6-hour marathon live stream, fun hangout with you guys. That is coming up in just a couple of weeks. So I'm hopefully going to get the information posted about all of that in the upcoming week. But if you missed it, we did this before in the summer. It was called Peggy's Summer Block Party. And I believe we're going to call the fall one the Fall Fest. So it'll be Peggy's Fall Fest. It'll be a 6-hour live stream, just casual chit chat, hangout, just like a party. We just get together, we chit chat, we keep it light and fun. And so we'll be doing that probably, we will be doing that in 2 weeks from yesterday, I believe. Let me just check my calendar so I don't give you the wrong date, but I'm pretty sure it is the 20, it's like right around the equinox, because we like to plan it for the season change, right? So yeah, Peggy's Harvest Party will be on the 25th, and we will be live from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm sorry, Jessica, did you say it's 4 a.m. in Australia? Holy moly. Oh my Lord. Okay, I have a funny relationship with coffee because Jen, the Harmonious Path with Jen, hi, by the way, just said the fact that you're functioning and wearing makeup and without having had coffee is impressive AF. Okay, so here's the thing. Hi, Dustin. Oh, you can find a way to make Fall Fest inappropriate. Just give it time. It'll come to you, I'm sure. So the thing with me and coffee is that, like, during the week when I go to my day job, I typically will make my coffee at home. I will get all the way to work, which I say all the way, but my commute is like 10 minutes, right? So I'll get to work, I'll get settled, I'll maybe even, draw my morning card of the day, and then I will take my first few sips of coffee. So I normally have my first few sips of coffee about an hour and a half after I have awoken, maybe like 2 hours after I've awakened. So that part's normal. But there is a point at which I will cease to be functioning human if I do not get the coffee into me. Oh no, Dustin, I didn't. I planned it for 11 because I wanted to be at your live. So I just planned this to start at 11 because you're usually done by then. Um, yeah. Hi, Barb. Barb, my middle name is inappropriate. So I am real excited. So did somebody just say Dustin balls? What happened? What is happening? Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe are you trying to help Dustin be inappropriate? No. He doesn't need any help. He can do it all on his own. Anyways, so Tarot with Training Wheels, let's assume somebody's in here and we have no idea what we're talking about. Tarot with Training Wheels is my free course I'm doing here on YouTube. I want to be careful to use the word course kind of loosely because the point of Tarot with Training Wheels is to just get you up and running with a simple, like single keyword system so that you can just get started reading. Because in my experience, whenever you're learning something new, you don't know if you want to like really deep dive study or learn something until you know if you even like the thing. And I think sometimes with tarot, it can feel like we can't do anything unless we like know exactly what you know what I mean? Like it feels like we can't, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. I got distracted, but like, I feel kind of like it's hard to know if you want to devote that kind of time and energy. And I feel like tarot is such a deep topic. Like we're always talking about how tarot is a lifelong study, and it is. You can always add more to your knowledge. Like like Dustin and I are at completely different places with how we study tarot, for example. Like if you want, and I said this even in the thing, if you want to know like deep symbology kind of stuff, make sure you check out Dustin at Modern Metaphysica's deep dive series. He does these videos every once in a while. He'll put one on his channel. It's a live stream, I believe. Yeah, it's a live stream. And he goes through a very intense deep dive of all the symbology of a single card. It's incredible. That is not what Tarot with Training Wheels is. It's like if you can picture trying to teach a little kid to ride the bike, it's the same kind of thing. We just need to start somewhere. So the keywords are really just meant to give you a jumping off point. And I chose the single keyword system because, and one of our most common questions in the comments was about putting cards together in combination. We're going to talk about that quite a bit today, I think. But that's one of the reasons I chose a single keyword system, because it works really well when you're trying to learn how to put cards together. It's one thing to pull a card and go, I know what this means. And then another card and go, I know what this means. But when you try to put them together, sometimes it gets a little crazy. And there's a lot of methods for combining cards, right? But the keyword method gives us a great jumping off point. Oh my God, the chat is crazy, y'all. No thongs in the fall fest. I mean, do y'all wear thongs in the fall? Like maybe you do. I don't wear thongs at all. But like if you wear thongs, do you wear them in the fall? Yes. Hi, Sarah. Thank you. And I'm so excited. There's been a lot of new people that have been finding the channel through this series. And I just want to say welcome to all of you guys. I hope you're feeling like it's an approachable thing. And for those of you who are doing with me Tarot with Training Wheels or Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, which is the additional course I have on my website, which is actually, you know what? Let's talk a little bit about the difference between Tarot with Training Wheels and Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, because I launched both courses at the exact same time. And I did that so that there was something free and accessible to everybody right away, and something for people who wanted to go just a little bit further with it. So I have next to me my Tarot with Training Wheels deck, which we've been using. I've been using is the Druid Craft, right? So you guys have been seeing this one on the videos. So right now we're through the major arcana. So I won't spoil any future keywords yet, but so this is what I've been doing is I've been sharing a single keyword for every card of the major arcana. And I'm going to do the exact same thing through the minor arcana and through all of the court cards. So as you go through and the lessons roll out, and the lessons are rolling out every single week on Tuesdays, except the first Tuesday of this month, there was not one. That was this last week. And the first Tuesday of October, there will also not be one. That is when I put up my monthly show and tells, which is kind of like my version of a monthly favorites video. But also because that gives us a little bit of a breathing room, a little break for those of us who have gotten behind to get caught up. But essentially the point of this is that you have a single keyword, and I give you mine, and I share with you why I give you why mine is what it is. And I did try to use, this is also important, I did try to use different words between Tarot with Training Wheels and Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners so that the two courses complement one another as opposed to repeating each other. Does that make sense? Because I have feelings about when people offer something free and then they also offer something that people can purchase. I feel like I want I don't want either one to devalue the other. I want the free one to be just as valuable, whether or not you choose to go for the paid version as well, right? So in Tarot with Training Wheels, we're using a single keyword. And the point of this is that I share with you mine, but you decide if that keyword resonates, if you don't like it, you use it as a jumping off point. You maybe go to your own tarot books or your favorite tarot deck guidebook or whatever, or you look at your own deck and you decide, does that make sense to me? Because the most important part of Tarot with Training Wheels is that whatever keyword you choose, and whether you write it on your card or put it on a flashcard next to your deck or put it on a piece of washi tape or whatever, anything like that that you do, the point is it has to make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, it won't work, right? So it has to make sense to you. So it's been really great to see your guys' comments roll in, because I've been hearing from a lot of you that sometimes this keyword works for you, sometimes you find something different, or maybe this keyword makes you think of a different keyword, all that kind of stuff. So this is the point of Tarot with Training Wheels. And the reason I called it Tarot with Training Wheels is because the idea is that once you get comfortable working with your Training Wheels deck, which has your keywords on it, or your flashcards, you will eventually feel comfortable because you'll know those keywords so well that you can either wipe them off, clean them off, trim them off, get rid of your flashcards, or just put them away, whatever. So this is just, it's like meant to guide you and give you that little bit of confidence to just pull out your cards and read with them. Now, if you haven't yet and you're through the major arcana, I suggest that you double check your keywords, go through them, make sure they're still working for you, try them in some sample readings, literally take out just your majors and try doing like a sample 3-card draw or 1-card draw and see if it makes sense to you. And then if it doesn't, don't be afraid to scratch it out and write a new one. And I know a lot of you guys have feelings about vandalizing your decks. I understand. I do understand. So you can print out a deck. I have a free printable actually in lesson 1 of Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, which, by the way, lesson 1 you can watch for free on my website, and you can access that downloadable. So you can always download that. I'll show you what you get, actually. We were going to talk about the difference between Training Wheels and Bootcamp, and I'm not even there yet. So let me show you the difference. So this is what we're doing in Training Wheels, is this, right? This is what we're doing in Bootcamp. So I'm going to show you mine. It's a mess. It's supposed to be. Mine's all mixed up. So in Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, we're actually creating our own deck of lots of keywords and other associations, right? So in Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, instead of one keyword, you're building your sort of DIY tarot deck. And as you notice, mine is not artistic or pretty. It's just words on cards. But I do give a printable where you can print this these templates that have the title of the card on the top. And these are approximately tarot sized. So these you can just print out on some cheap cardstock. I picked up cardstock from like Walmart, and it's basically paper. It doesn't even feel like cardstock, but it works fine. It does shuffle enough to be able to use it. So the point of boot camp is that you get to build a library of keywords, and we go through numerology and we talk about the elements and we get into more stuff. So if you're curious what the difference is between the two courses, that's it. In this case, we're focusing on a single keyword. In this case, I kind of guide you through a bunch of exercises, card comparisons, and other things where you choose your own keywords for different parts of the meaning of each card. And so really, in one case, it's very like, here's a keyword, here's what I think about it. Now you also think about it and decide which one is your own, that sort of thing. Are you just now hearing about it, Marla? Yeah, I'm really excited. And if you don't know the kind of reason why this all came about, I learned tarot with a deck that had keywords. And I didn't learn on the Rider-Waite-Smith. I learned on the Osho Zen Tarot, which is a deck that has a keyword for every card. It doesn't say 4 of Cups or Knight of Wands. It just has a keyword. That's it. So I learned the tarot through that method, and it's what makes sense to me for an easier way to learn. So yeah, and as Barb points out, there are some inexpensive printable tarot decks on Etsy. I bought a line art version of the RWS for about $5 that I'm going to use when I finally get off my butt and start Lisa's course. Yeah, exactly. There's so many different ways you can do it. But with Tarot Bootcamp, you just need blanks because you're going to add all the things and you need lots of room. Or just write over the line art if you do that. Dustin's going to get some lunch. Hi, Dawn. Oh my gosh, I'm like talking a mile a minute, y'all. I need to drink more coffee. I almost feel like it might slow me down. Let's see. Ellie Amethyst says, I have labels to write on that I want to put on one of my decks, but I don't know what deck I want to use yet. Maybe my Modern Witch, since it was my first and glossy enough to take off the label. I would test that just in case if you're not sure if the labels will come off again. The other thing I will say about paper or labels, because I've done this, when I was playing with my Joie de Vivre tarot, each character in the Joie de Vivre tarot by Paulina Cassidy has a name. And so I would take a bit of Post-it note tape. It was Post-it note tape. So the tiniest little bit of Post-it note tape. And I would write the name of the character next to where they were on the card. And I will say it does make the card the card's a little tricky to shuffle because the labels make catch. And you get a much thicker deck. You don't think that little teeny piece of paper is going to make the deck thicker. It totally does. Ofu, I didn't know about boot camp. The blank deck was what I just wrote you about. Now I can't wait to go to boot camp. Oh, that's awesome. The fun thing about boot camp is that when you're done, you do have a deck. And the point of this like dummy deck, mine's in this little cute sloth Peggy bag. But the point of this is once you have this, and you can do the same thing with your tarot training wheels deck, guys. Same thing. You'll have your single keyword here or a bunch of keywords here, right? Same idea. But you can then, anytime you're watching like a tarot deck walkthrough on YouTube, you can have your deck in order and you can literally look at the art you see on the screen and compare it to your keywords and add or change the ones you have so that it can be an evolving tool. And you can do the same thing with your tarot training wheels. You can watch a video walkthrough with your training wheels deck in order and see if the art you see on the screen, like I make tons of walkthroughs. Lots of people here on YouTube make tons of walkthroughs. And that's a great way to learn from the tarot or about the tarot while you're watching YouTube, if you're watching it anyway. I think sometimes we forget that there's ways we learn from these videos, even if we don't have to always just use walkthroughs to shop for new decks. I'm just saying, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just saying you can get other benefits out of watching those videos. So having something like this beside you when you buy a new deck, when you're considering buying a new deck, and like seeing, does the art that you see on the card line up with your impressions of what you think that tarot card should mean? Or does the art on that card add to what you think you know? And so you have white space that you can like add to in your DIY deck. So you have this tool now available to you. Now mine is like not pretty. Some people might find it pretty or want to make a pretty one. I did not. I just wanted mine to focus on words and I needed lots of real estate. But that's the point. And whether it's tarot with training wheels or tarot bootcamp, same idea, just one goes further than the other. That's basically it. So yeah, anyways, I haven't even gotten to any of the questions we have yet, but I want to check the comments here. Let's see. And I'd love for you guys to share how you're finding either course or both courses, or if you've hit any stumbling blocks. I'd love to answer your questions here live as well as the ones that were asked already. Yeah, exactly. Princess, what's her name? It's so funny because Peggy sometimes watches walkthroughs, mine or other people's. She has no interest in buying 90% of the things she sees on YouTube. She just wants to look at the art. I love tarot for that. Some decks are glossy where you can kind of indent a word and it's virtually unnoticeable unless you look for it. Oh, Sugar Shock, that's a good idea. And for those of you struggling with Sharpies on your cards, if it's not showing up, like if you have dark cards, silver Sharpie is amazing for being visible on darker cards. That's how I labeled my Mary L tarot, which I trimmed and put the titles back on with Sharpie. Yeah, Don Michelle says, I find walkthroughs really educational. Exactly. And Christy says, also, there's something really powerful about crafting your own deck. It's like a spell and a memory enhancer. There's a reason why when we all went to school, a lot of us used flashcards. We used flashcards to learn our numbers, to learn our letters. I don't know what else we used flashcards for. I used flashcards all the time, but I'm a visual learner. And I think this is worth addressing because there is no way I was going to be able to make a course that would address, well, I shouldn't say there's no way. There might have been a way. I didn't think of that way, but I didn't find it possible for me to create a course that would work for every single learning style. This word method may not work for everybody. For me, it kind of allows you to focus on the imagery in the card and form a meaning around that imagery. And that's where so I'm kind of a visual learner. So the keyword combined with the imagery on the card created a really great learning system for me personally. So that is what I'm teaching because that's what worked for me. But there are other people that are much more cerebral and want to learn in a totally different way. And so I just want to remind you guys that it's okay if this is not the method that like works for you. And thank you guys for sharing your resources with each other in the chat. That is so helpful. Dustin says, one of my first decks I learned on back in the 90s was a deck that had keywords written on it, and I still use some of them to this day. Exactly. Yes. That was my experience. Yep. Cauldron and the Ivy. I'm 98% the same of walkthroughs. I like to watch them, like Peggy. Yes. Oh my goodness, Maria. It's 2:22 my time. So meant to take this course. Oh, good. Oh, hi, long hair, skinny eyed toe. I feel like I can't say hi to every single person, but hi to everybody. I'm so excited you all are here. So I'm going to start going through some of these questions, and let's start with court cards, because this is the thing, right? We are going to be talking court cards in Tarot with Training Wheels. It is the last section we're going to cover before we're done with the course. So we are going in the order of the major arcana, which we just finished, and don't feel any pressure. These videos are not going anywhere. The playlist is there for you to access whenever you want. So you can start whenever you want, you can pause whenever you want, and you can continue whenever you want. But we've just finished the major arcana as far as the videos being released. And so we're going to be moving on to the minor arcana next. Where is the rest of my majors here? We're going to be moving on to the minor arcana next. So we're going to be going through the wands, and then I think we go wands, swords, cups, pentacles, or wands, cups, swords, I can't remember. It's one of those. So we go through the minors next, and then we'll go through the court cards all together. So all 16 court cards we are going to cover, just like we covered all 21 majors. So the reason I keep the court cards separate, and I talked about this a little bit in, I think, lesson 2, the reason I keep the court cards separate is because, to me, they are an entirely different suit. They are associated with each of their minor arcana suits. So, of course, the page, knight, queen, and king of the wands suit is associated with the wands, of course. However, they're read so much differently, or they have been in my experience, that I like keeping them separate when I'm learning, because I feel like if I look at them as a group, they start to make a lot more sense than if I try to combine them with the 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever of wands, right? Because they just have such a different energy. So a lot of the questions that I have when I first initially asked for your guys' main hiccups with the court card, or excuse me, with the tarot, was about the court cards, which I completely get. So when we're looking at the keyword method for the court cards, what we're going to be looking at is a personality trait. And the reason I pick a personality trait in Tarot Bootcamp for Beginner, not Tarot Bootcamp, sorry, I'm going to mix up my course names because I'm still making up. In Tarot with Training Wheels, the reason I pick a personality trait is because if you think of a personality trait, let's just pick one randomly. Like let's say assertive. Somebody is assertive. Assertive can describe a person, but it can also describe an energy. So if, let's say you're reading on a situation, right? And because this is one of the things that get asked is, how do you read court cards as not people? I think we get really attached to reading court cards as people, and then we get kind of thrown if we're like, what kind of day am I going to have today? And you get like the Page of Wands, and you're like, what? So let's take the Page of Wands. Actually, let's just do a little teaser, because you guys, we'll cover this again, obviously, in the course. But let me grab the Page of Wands. Can I find my Page of Wands? In this deck, they're called the Princess. Okay. Oh, see, I don't even remember what my keywords were. It's so funny because I have so many different ones I like to use, which is great because in boot camp we use multiple for each card. So in the Princess of Wands, the keyword that I have here is curious. Curious. So I think of my Page of Wands in this particular context as curious. So if I were to use that word, let's say I'm like, what kind of day am I going to have today? And the Page of Wands comes up, and my personality trait for this card is curious. Then I'm going to go, okay, wait, I can think of a person who's like kind of curious or inquisitive or like wants to know how things work, but how does that show up as an energy? How could my day involve curiosity? And suddenly it's like, oh, my day might involve some curiosity. Maybe something's going to happen and I'm going to want to dig a little deeper into it. Maybe I'm just going to find myself not taking things at face value and wanting to dig into that next layer of like, what do they mean by that? Like, maybe I'm just going to feel nosy. Maybe I'm just going to have a day where like somebody's going to say something and I want to be nosy. Maybe I'm going to be tempted to go Facebook stalk my ex or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's the energy that it's telling me about. And so when you have a personality trait that you associate with each court card, you can think of that as a personality trait of a person, or you could apply that personality trait to yourself. Like, how am I going to be curious today? Or you could think of that personality trait as describing a situation or an energy. So it gives you a descriptive word. Like that's the point, right? Kind of like an adjective, right? Only it's a I guess it is an adjective. Guys, grammar, not my whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I know what I mean. Let me take a look at the comments and see how we're feeling about what I just said. So the Knight of Cups is hopeless romantic. Sure, absolutely. You could see the Knight of Cups as romantic. So then if romantic energy comes up, how is that going to show up in your day? Like, it all depends on the question. And the question is probably the most important part of doing a reading other than the cards in front of you. Like, without a good question, your reading will not work. And that's because if you're not clear about what you're asking, the cards are going to be like, we don't know, man. We don't know what you want. Tell us what you want, and then we will tell you, you know? So you have to be clear about your question, which we'll talk about that as well. Yes. Let me see. So just a student learning, I really like the tarot training wheels keywords, and I started developing mind maps for each of them with word definitions, synonyms, saying snippets of poems and quotes. That is amazing. I love that so much. Mind maps are one of my favorite things. If you guys don't know, it's kind of where you put a word in a bubble and then you start, what does that word make you think of? And you do more bubbles around that. And then you can kind of branch off. It's awesome. It's a great way to brainstorm in a visual way. And I'm a visual person, so I love that. I love the idea that you're pulling in snippets of poems and quotes. Anything. The thing is, I'm about to go on a rant. There are a lot of things that show up on the internet that say that they're going to be like a free course or a thing you can learn or whatever. And then it's just bait, right? Like you get like halfway into it. It's like, to learn the rest of it, join my blah, 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 or go sign up for my thing or whatever. I did not want that to be the case for Tarot Training Wheels. I wanted it to be enough all by itself so that nobody feels any pressure to do anything else. Which is not to say you shouldn't. Obviously, if you want to learn more, please do continue to learn. But the idea is that I wanted it to feel complete so that it wasn't like a thing that left you like, I hate cliffhangers. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. I hate cliffhangers. So with that being the case, taking a single word and then branching off from that is one of the best ways to get the most kind of bang for your time, I guess, on YouTube watching this course, is to just keep building on it. If you build on that keyword, you're going to get so much out of it. Ellie says, if anyone is knowledgeable in astrology, you can use the elements and signs. Page is personification of the element. Knight is the mutable sign. Queen, the cardinal, and king, the fixed. Helps me a lot. I think I first encountered this in a practical way in the Beautiful Creatures, the Tarot of the Beautiful Creatures, or Beautiful Creatures Tarot. It's a Jasmine Beckett Griffith deck. It was the one thing that I loved about that deck, besides the art. I didn't like most of the card associations, but the quartz had a clear astrological sign associated with each knight, queen, and king, and the element associated with the page, just like Ellie said, and it really gave them a lot more dynamic energy. There's a whole lot of things you can do to really deep dive into learning the court cards specifically. There's a ton of great exercises you can do. Among them is trying to profile each one. Like if you start with even just a single keyword and then ask yourself like what that person would be like if they were a person, and kind of create a personality around that card. A really great book if you want to deep dive into quartz specifically. I love Ethany's tarot court cards. Oh gosh, Your Tarot Court is what it's called, Your Tarot Court. And I will recommend that when we get into resources as well. But I'm recommending it now. I recommend that one all the time. For court cards, that's, I think, one of the best ones I've ever encountered. I've read a few. That one's my favorite. If you like tarot books, Kitchen Table Tarot by Melissa Sonova is one of my favorites. And her book and Ethany's book work really well together. So those are a great combo if you want to get further and deeper in. But again, I think that the challenge for a lot of us is it's very easy to start acquiring all the books and like literally overwhelm ourselves. And that's why I think it's really helpful to just start with simple, just one little keyword. Or if you're doing boot camp, a few keywords, and then starting to build on it as you go. And I love that boot camp lets you kind of build and kind of keep adding and adding and adding. That's what I love about that system. But each one has its different perks, right? So I like it when the court card reminds me of someone, as then I can describe the character type easily. Exactly. So I've been to workshops where the workshop leader will have you write down all the court cards and then read up about each court card, or maybe like listen to their talk on those court cards, and then try to find somebody from your life, past, present, or even somebody like from cartoons. Like Disney characters can make great court cards, or any kind of pop culture characters. I've got a lot of Harry Potter characters in my head attached to certain court cards. So you can do things like that to start to build energy around it. Just remember that your understanding of every card is going to evolve over time. It's almost impossible for it not to. So the way that I saw the Page of Cups or the Fool card or any other tarot card in the 90s, I see most of them differently now. Like those meanings that I learned in the 90s are still there, but it's like you add layer and layer and layer and layer and layer, and they just get more and more fully formed in your mind. And that's the beautiful thing about repetition, right? You start to kind of add and add and add. So it's amazing. Anyways, let me go get caught up in more comments. I'm missing so many of them. By the way, if you want me to see your comment specifically, make sure that you either put it in all caps or tag me at Lisa Papez. Shannon, have you seen Imogen's? Oh, wait, where did it go? There it is. Have you seen Imogen's court card videos? I love Imogen. She has an amazing court card series that I love. Yes, it's great. Go check out. I think is it just Imogen Walters on YouTube? I think it's just Imogen. If anybody can share a link to Imogen's channel, she has a great court card series that is wonderful. There's a few methods I have for making the court cards more approachable, and we talk some of those in Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, where I talk about some of my favorite ways to sort of think of each one and kind of combine. Whereas in Tarot, I'm going to do a lot of this combining of the two courses because I want to make sure whether you're taking one or both that you're getting what you need from this check-in. But the interesting thing about the difference between Tarot with Training Wheels and Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners is that in Tarot with Training Wheels, we're focusing on one key concept for each card. Whereas in Tarot with Training Wheels, we're taking many concepts and we're starting to combine them and put them together to build a more comprehensive view of each card. So there is going to be a different vibe to each one in that way. Which court card is Severus Snape? Ooh, I'd probably see Severus as like, probably like a King of Swords kind of dude, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? King of Swords. He could also be like a King of Wands. I'd see him as a king, though, I think. He would not be a Cups. He would not be Pentacles. So he'd have to be Swords or Wands to me, I think. Yeah. I miss Imogen too. She's amazing. Let's go up here a little bit. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, and then we're going to go on to some other questions. How are we feeling about the discussion on court cards? Is everything I'm saying kind of making sense so far? Because I want it to feel like you're getting your questions answered in here, and I don't need to hold anything back. It's all good. Okay, I think I'm pretty caught up. Okay, cool. So hit me with any other questions you have about working with the court cards, and I'm going to go look up the next question. Oh, just want to say thanks so much for your walkthrough of Kim's spread machine. Oh, yeah, that's a great deck. The spread machine is wonderful. There's another one I'm going to be reviewing soon by Holly Nelson called the Spread Deck. And they're both different and awesome. So, yeah, if you're looking for a deck that will help you build spreads or just shuffle and draw random spreads, those are some good ones. Okay, so another question I had. So that the question about reading court cards as non-person energy was from Emma S. I also had a question that got some upvotes here on the original video. Okay, so Yota Nicolo, oh my gosh, Yota Nicolo Polu says, hello Lisa, tarot noob here. I think one of the struggles I have with reading the tarot is letting my mood or my personal opinion affect the reading. Sometimes when I feel bad, I find bad meanings, or if I'm scared, I try to sugarcoat the message. Really grateful for your help with the past year of my learning experience. Okay, so she goes on from there. So the thing about letting your personal bias get in the way is we're human, right? Like if you're emotional and you're pulling cards for yourself, it's going to be hard to get a clear answer if you're going purely off of trying to dig into your tarot knowledge and intuition. That's my experience. That may not be the case for everybody. Some people may be really good at reading impartially for themselves when their emotions are charged, but certainly I am not. And in fact, my favorite way to read for myself on the regular is to pull my cards for my question or pull my cards for the day. And it depends on the reason for the question, right? But let's assume it's just a general kind of daily reading for myself first, and then I'll talk about when I'm more emotional. So if I'm just doing a daily general reading for myself, one of the things that I will do is I will lay my cards, and I've been reading tarot for 20 plus years. I will go to the guidebook and I will read what the guidebook has to say about each card. That helps me start my reading off from a more neutral place because I'm not just going right to like all the like things I think that card could mean right away. First, I'm starting with the author's interpretation of that card. And that gives me, like I said, a neutral starting place, something with a little less bias. And then from there, I try to think about which things from the guidebook jumped out at me the most. That's where my intuition comes in. Then I start to layer in what I know about that card, what I'm feeling intuitively about that card. And heads up, y'all, intuitive reading is coming. Like that's probably going to be the next thing that we do as far as any course content's concerned, is I want to go into more of an intuitive space for a bit. But I layer all of those things together and then I form my reading. And that gives me, like I said, I've started from a more neutral place and it gives me something I can trust. Because if I go just in with like whatever I'm feeling in that moment, sometimes I am concerned that it's too biased. Now, when you're emotional, okay, so I have a few feelings about this. First of all, if you're really worked up, that's probably not the right time to pull cards for yourself, because if you're not clear, your energy is not clear and you will influence your reading. That's my opinion. Again, I'm going to caveat all this by saying this is my opinion, my experience, etc. So obviously vet that through what feels true for you. But if you're really actively feeling, let's make it scientific for a moment. Okay. Let's talk about your nervous system for a sec. When your nervous system is in its stress response, and let me just slip into yoga teacher mode for a second, okay? When you're in the stress response, when you're in a state of anxiety, stress, worry, sadness, grief, upset, your whole body is kind of hijacked by certain hormones and things that are coursing through your body. The best thing you can do to tell your body that you are physically safe, that you are okay, is to just humor me for a second, is to breathe. And we hear that all the time, but specifically to make sure that you are taking a full breath in and that you are taking more time to exhale than you take to inhale. So for example, you breathe into the count of 2 and you breathe out to the count of 3 or maybe 4. The reason that you do this is because primally and instinctively, if we as human beings were in danger, our bodies are designed for this. If you are in danger, what will happen is that your stress response kicks in. It gives you adrenaline. It gives you all these other hormones so that you can get yourself physically safe. And when it does that, the other thing that will happen is that your body will naturally start to want to breathe in more than you breathe out. So it will want more oxygen. Okay. So when that happens, your body is like trying to take in oxygen. If you take a moment to calm yourself down enough so that you can take a big breath in and breathe out slower, you're literally telling your instinctive systems in your body that you are safe and it's okay to get out of that state. The reason I think that matters when you're reading tarot cards for yourself is because when you take the scientific piece of we know this is how our body is responding in the stress response, and we apply that to energy principles, assuming that you buy into energy principles at all, if you apply energy principles to the things we know scientifically are happening, then your energy is going to be high. You're going to have agitated energy. It's going to be a little chaotic. If you think about the way that your body's responding when you're trying to escape, I don't know, a wild animal, you don't want to bring that kind of energy into getting an answer for yourself, right? You want to be coming at it from a calmer, level place. So belly breathing, first step, get yourself into a calmer place before you pull cards for yourself. With that said, sometimes we just need a virtual hug, right? We just need the card to tell us some things that we feel okay. If that's what you want or need in that moment to get yourself into the place where you can get calm and then do a more in-depth reading, then maybe pull for an affirmation card or an oracle deck, something that will give you that immediate comfort so that you can then get into your body, breathe, and then go to the tarot when you are ready and calm to do that. Okay, that was a bit of a rant, but it matters because I don't think you're going to get effective answers when you're actively worked up. With that said, once you're calm, if you have a lot of bias in a situation, you can absolutely read for yourself, but I would definitely recommend checking that reading against a guidebook, going slower, and also writing down what your interpretations of each card are, and then sitting with those interpretations and coming back to them again a day later, a couple of hours later after you've had a cup of tea or a nap, coming at it again the next day and reviewing it. I don't think we do this enough, right? We'll do a reading, we throw the cards on the table, we're like, okay, I know what that means. We put it away, and then we don't get what we need out of it. If you are working through some intensity of any kind, good, bad, indifferent, whatever the intensity, I guess indifferent wouldn't be intensity, but if you're working through intensity, then it's definitely worthwhile to write everything down and come back at it. Yeah. Bias, you better reshuffle, says Christy. It's really tempting, I will say, if you're worked up and you throw cards down and you don't like what you see or you don't immediately connect to what you see, it's incredibly tempting to go, oh, that's just a bad pull, and just redraw. I've been guilty of this in the past. I've definitely done it. I've stopped doing it because I think that we often miss the messages we're really meant to hear when we do that. I think sometimes it's like beneficial, even if you don't know what anything means, take a picture of it with your phone and then come back to it later. Lay the cards out again and try again. But don't abandon the reading, my opinion, my perspective. Don't just abandon it because it didn't click or it made you feel uncomfortable right away. Yeah, Storybook Tarot says, when I'm reading for myself, I initially go to the deck guidebook or a trusted card source, regardless of emotional state. Keeps my reading neutral and grounded. It does depend for me. My regular ongoing readings for myself, I love going to the guidebooks. I just love it. I love the way that it gives me different perspectives. It's one of the things I love about working with different decks. I think sometimes we have this mental block where we think that the guidebook is like a thing that beginners use. And yeah, sure, but like guidebooks are valuable resources. And I think sometimes we kind of dismiss them. And that's like, to me, that's like half of the deck. Half of the deck is the guidebook. You have the art, that's great. But the guidebook is the piece for me that has the creator of that deck's interpretations and understanding of the tarot. And so every deck, it's like when I go into my wall of decks, y'all have seen my wall of hanging decks, okay? When I go to my wall of decks, it's like I have, okay, it's like talking paintings almost to me. Like I have a wall of talking paintings and I can ask each of these paintings a different question and get it, or the same question and get a different answer. How incredible is that? It's like having a room full of people that I can ask questions of, which is not to say you need 8 billion decks. Please don't misinterpret me. But it is something I enjoy about having a lot of decks. Yeah, Lunar Libra. I love the guidebooks so much. Not only does using them help me bond and connect with my deck, but it's also just really cool and interesting to see how creators interpret their cards. Yes, yes, yes. Billy's Craft Room, breathing, send my attention to my feet, feeling the floor beneath them. All of these things are great things to do. I found ear massage, re-vagus nerve, so good. Ear massage. I love ear massage. I don't do it enough. Yes, breath work is so important. Totally. Yeah, absolutely. So Jessica says, how do you handle people who are against and afraid of tarot? Okay, so here's bottom line. I'm gonna be blunt for a second. Everybody's allowed to have their opinions and feelings about tarot, right? And there are a lot of people that have been socialized, raised, or whose religious beliefs tell them that tarot is a bad thing. And my opinion, not my job to change those people's opinions. That is not my responsibility. Do I need to let those people make me afraid of tarot? No. Will I offer to read for those people? No, because that would be like kind of crossing their personal boundaries. But when you're in a situation where people are being judgy, it's no different. Okay, maybe I'm just used to this because the reality is that hi, I'm gay. So like, I mean, people not getting me or thinking that something about me or my lifestyle is not in alignment with what they believe is something I encounter. So like for me, I guess it feels more normal to just not take that on and also to not feel like it's my job to convince other people. Sometimes we're in a situation where we just want people to love and accept us, but I don't have a lot of patience, I guess, to try to change other people's opinions or help them in that way or help myself in that way, I guess you could say. I don't know how to express it. But in general, my way of generally talking about tarot when I am talking to somebody who doesn't know anything and is genuinely curious but kind of unsettled about it is I'll just be like, oh, it's not much different than like checking your horoscope in the morning to kind of see like, what do I think my day is going to be about? It can be just fun and frivolous and light. It doesn't have to be, serious. It said it's not like there's no real woo around it for me most of the time. It's just, I've talked to my boss about it. My boss knows I do tarot. It's kind of funny. When he first found out, he's like, you do tarot? Like, what's that about? And he asked these like questions that I think some people might find themselves getting offended by, right? But I'm like, no, I said I mean, I get it. Not everybody gets it. And he's like, oh, I don't think that's real. You could just tell people whatever. And I was like, yeah, you probably could, but it's not really ethical. So I wouldn't do it that way. You know what I mean? And, he'll ask me like every once in a while he'll be like, what'd you pull today? Like, what was your card of the day? And I'll be like, oh, it was this. And he's like, what does that mean? He always sounds like so goofy and like he's not aggressive. I'm making him sound aggressive, but he's always like kind of goofy about it. And I'll be like, oh, it means this. And he's like, oh, well, you could have got that from anything. And I was like, I guess so, but like it helps me, so I use it, and I just kind of keep it light and I don't get offended. And I just, I think a lot of times people think, oh, it's just silly. And that's fine. When people are actively afraid of it, I don't put it in their face. That's just me. That's how I would handle it. But it's hard, especially if you live with somebody who doesn't get it, or if you have somebody around you that doesn't get it. The best thing I can do is to describe how you use it for yourself and how you find it helpful if somebody's concerned. If it's like tarot to me is kind of a self-help tool. It can be. It doesn't have to be, but it can be a very helpful self-help tool. It can help me look at myself. It can help me learn about myself. It can help me ask hard questions of myself, and then I can grow and be a better person. So I'd probably talk about it from that angle if I was talking to somebody who was genuinely concerned for me and wanted to know why I was using tarot cards. But it's getting easier. I feel like tarot's definitely going a lot more mainstream. I feel like I went on about that for a while. Sorry, guys. I'm chatty this morning. What can I say? It's almost lunchtime. Oh my God, storybook. Hi, I'm Gail. Well, I love you, Lisa. Yep. Oh, hello, as my kid would say, I'm half gay. Hello. Sorry, this is the comment I was responding to in case you guys are curious. Yes. Broken Arrow. I've never understood why any person would be opposed to a tool that can help an individual. My ex-husband was so opposed to astrology and tarot. Not surprising, he never sought to understand himself. Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think the people that understand the desire to follow a personal growth path, I feel like kind of get tarot easier than people who don't get that at all. Like if your best friend or your husband or whatever is like the kind of person that doesn't want to sit and talk about feelings, they're probably not going to get tarot. Like, you know what I mean? Because to a degree, that's what we're doing with tarot. I think that's one of the reasons why we find an out of balance gender representation within tarot. We see a lot more of the people who have been socialized to talk about their feelings more. And unfortunately, the men in our communities have not been socialized to talk about their feelings or to get into those deeper layers. It's like we're all socialized differently. And so depending on our experiences, we may or may not have ever been made to feel comfortable exploring that part of ourselves. So there's definitely, I think, more of a skew in who's more likely to get it and who's not as likely to get it because our socialization systems are kind of crummy. But that's a whole thing. I love men in tarot. Can we just say? And I wish there was more representation of men in tarot in general. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So Emmy says, I live with a Christian roommate that doesn't agree with tarot or my witchcraft practice. Word. I think she dislikes gay people too, but I do that all in private, sadly. That's hard when you're in a situation where you live with somebody. I mean, and I'm a big believer in everybody should, like, I'm a very big, like, live and let live kind of person. So I feel like they should respect what you do, even if they don't get it and they're uncomfortable with it. You don't have to do it in a space that is shared. I think that's respectful in a roommate situation. Like I wouldn't want my Christian roommate holding like a Bible study necessarily in my living room. Maybe I'm not really a roommate person, so I might not be the best person to talk about that. But I just feel like shared spaces should feel comfortable for everybody in the environment, and private spaces should be whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? So that would be my take. It does make it more uncomfortable because you kind of wish you could be more open or have your stuff out in the main living area. But there's that. So yeah, keep your questions coming. I'm going to take a look back. I feel like I went off the rails a little bit with that one. So, let's see what other questions here. A lot of people saying they're excited about it. I'm trying to find the questions. Okay, here. So Karina Fisher says, and I'm reading the comments, by the way, from my original announcement video, which I will try to pop a link for that. So if you guys want to see where I'm getting my questions or see the original announcement, you can. So I'm going to pop that in the chat. But this is where I'm getting the questions. So Karina Fisher says, I struggle the most with how to use the cards and what questions. I sit before them and literally want to engage, but I don't know what to ask. This is such a good question. I always think I know the answer already without asking the cards, if that makes sense. Yes. And also, if I ask a question, for example, on what I need to focus, I find it hard to translate the cards to my specific questions. I know the general meanings, but I can't project them into my questions. Thank you for the course. So I feel like there was a lot in that. And I don't want to miss questions in chat either. I'm trying to volley both pretty well here. So when it comes to knowing the right questions to ask or knowing how to ask a question, I think there's two different ways of looking at this. There's also more than two, but there's two ways I'm going to talk about how we work with the tarot in general. One way is for those of us that really just want to play with our cards. We want to use them regularly, or we want to use them as part of like a daily practice, that sort of thing. When you're using cards regularly as part of like a routine or a practice, then it can be hard to come up with a question that's going to give you actual like a meaty response back. If you're just doing the same thing every day, it's hard to keep it fresh. So what I like to do, there's a few different ways that I like to do this. One of the ways is I like to use books that have morning. I like to use books that have I know, I heard you. I like to use books that have certain journal prompts. Sorry, let me back up. Journal prompts are great. So journal prompts on is somebody leaving? Oh, bye, Billy's. I like to use journal prompts as jumping off points for questions. That's great. Have you ever seen books? I've got a few of them. I should have grabbed them to show you guys. But there's a few books that have like a daily prompt or like a few daily reflective questions. These are really common in like Christian communities, but you can also find very non-denominational, more spiritual, or like even Eastern tradition leaning kind of books that have that kind of inspiration in them. And they'll have like a little entry about something inspirational. Think like something along the lines of Chicken Soup for the Soul, but like not, something kind of inspirational. And then there'll be like a couple of questions or like prompts or something like that. And those are great jumping off points for daily card pulls, right? Because it can give you something to like kind of prompt a question. Like maybe you've read an entry and it's like, how does gratitude show up in your life? And it's like, hey, that's a great tarot question. How can I focus more on gratitude today? And then you pull a card. So I'm going to just grab from my majors. So I'll just grab from my bootcamp deck here. So, okay, how can I focus more on gratitude today? And I pull let's see, what am I pulling? Ace of Pentacles. And so the keywords I have from the tarot bootcamp is gift, opportunity, windfall, prosperity, grounding, manifestation, the potential of resources. So I'm like, wait a minute. How can I focus more on gratitude? And then I have a card that's all about good stuff coming to me. And I'm like, oh, maybe I just need to recognize all the good stuff that's already in my life. Like maybe it's not so much about always chasing the next thing. And so you kind of extrapolate like from one thing to your question, right? So sometimes the issue when we do a reading for ourselves and we don't know what the cards are telling us, it's because we haven't asked a question that makes sense to us or that we need answered in that moment. So I kind of went, again, kind of off the rails over here. The other way, though, to read tarot is to only go to tarot when you have a question that means a lot to you or where it's really significant or represents something significant happening in your life. If you're going to tarot out of routine, but you're not clear about what it is you need from your tarot practice in that moment or in that day, you might not get as much out of it, right? And I think that's an important thing to remember. I want to make sure I'm not missing questions here. Amy says, as some that is non-binary and gay, I sometimes find the obvious gendering in the majors and courts off-putting. What should I do in this type of situation? It can be hard because I think we get hung up on gender, especially in the courts and the majors. Well, more in the courts, I think, than the majors. I don't think the gender is relevant to the energy of the court cards at all. And I think we're seeing that in modern decks. I think in modern decks, we're seeing more mixing up of gender representation or more gender neutral looking kind of cards through the courts for that reason. And it's not even for the non-binary that this is useful, right? For a lot of us, Peggy's doing laundry. We can see her. Hi, honey. How's the laundry going? How's the laundry going? I'm just teasing you because I saw it's fine. Go get your coffee. You're good. Just say hi. Hi. Anyways, so what I was going to say is it's not only helpful for non-binary folks to have more of a gender neutral look at the court cards. The reason that is because if you pull a King of Cups card and you pull a Queen of Swords card in your reading, right? And you are female identified, you're going to think, this is the default. You're going to tend to think that the Queen of Swords is talking about you and the King of Cups is talking about somebody else in your life, probably a male person. And that really limits what the court cards are supposed to be representing. They're not specifically associated with a gender in that way. If I pull the King of Cups and the Queen of Swords in a reading, either one of those could be talking about me. Both of them could be talking about me. Both of them could be talking about somebody else. Both of them could be talking about an energy and not people at all. And this is what makes the court cards so challenging. So having really locked in like binary ways of looking at the tarot court cards can be limiting for everybody, for different reasons, right? So it is helpful when we remember that it doesn't matter. Like that's why some decks you'll find, okay, so the page is traditionally a boy, but in the Druidcraft Tarot we have the princess instead of the page. That kind of thing, when we see it start to get mixed up, does get helpful, because I think it does start to remind us that the court cards are genderless, truly. Like, they're just an energy, they're a personality. Because tarot is a historical system, of course, that was represented artistically through gender, but it locks us in and it can be very limiting. So I think it's important to remember that the court cards, any court card, can be any gender, can be non-gendered, can be any kind of energy. It's the energy of the card that matters, though. It's not the way that presents. I hope I'm saying this right. Please feel free to tell me if I'm making absolutely no sense, and I will clarify myself. A bunch of people saying hi to you, honey.
Pardon me?
I said a bunch of people said hi, Peggy.
Oh, well, hi, everybody.
Nicole says,
mushrooms.
Oh, good. She's got a mushroom garden on the balcony.
It's a shady balcony, so I can't grow anything else.
She misses gardens. Poor Peggy.
Oh, yeah.
She so misses gardens. Nicole says, I always wanted to know how I can determine if the card is talking about a person or a situation. I sometimes don't know if I'm looking at a person or the concept of the card meaning. So this is where I think, especially as a newer person to tarot, or as part of learning the tarot, is practicing. Okay, you can do this right now. And actually, this is such a useful exercise. So do I have all the court cards here? Let me just pull out my court cards. Okay. Grab a deck, any deck, and pull out your court cards, just your court cards, and put everything else away. Put everything else away. Now you only have your court cards. And now do practice readings. Do past, present, future with court cards only. Do energy obstacle advice with court cards only. Do body, mind, soul with court cards only. Oh no, she locked the dog outside. Ask questions that cannot be answered by people and practice, because you just have to rewire the connections in your brain. When you guys talk about struggling because you've learned the court cards as being actual people, and they can be read that way, and they often are read that way, because when we're doing readings, we're often asking about situations that are interpersonal. So being able to have court cards possibly represent people is helpful, but it can be limiting. So if you want to break out of that box, you take your court cards and you start reading with them. That will help you break out of that box a little bit. And I actually do have some assigned exercises where we do just that in Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, because you have to get out of that box a little bit to expand the meaning of the cards. Yeah, B says that makes sense. That's why I love animal and modern decks that change up the court titles. Yeah, changing up the court titles is really helpful, because they do become very stereotypical otherwise. Okay, I'm going to scroll through here. I hope I answered that question. Does Peggy use Tide? Lol, lol, lol. I don't think so.
I use whatever's cheap.
No, you use stuff that doesn't have as many perfumes in it or whatever.
No, I try to use, I don't use the super stinky stuff. But...
Peggy's a laundry wizard. She does all this kind of crazy magic in the washing machine. I'm so glad I don't have to do laundry. She's like, oh, it's got this kind of stuff in it. We're going to add a little bit of this thing in here. Or it's got this. We're going to add a little bit of this thing. She has all these like tricks, like shaving off a little bit of a bar of soap, or like putting in a little dish soap. Please be careful with that one. Or like adding a little oxy, or like whatever. I'm like, I grew up, you put a bunch of clothes.
It's just laundry. It's not magic.
It's kind of magic-y.
No, you're just trying to make sure I never not want to do the laundry.
Truth.
This is Tom Sawyer's moment with whitewashing the fence. Oh, I had so much fun. I can't believe nobody else wants to do it.
What the hell kind of outdated reference? Go get your coffee.
I'm old.
Nope, go get your coffee.
I'm really old.
You're done. We're done with you. Okay, Sarah says, do you think it's important to respect the system of the tarot, Marseille, Rider-Waite, Thoth? Some decks now present new order and different signification. I think that is 1000% up to the individual reader. If you haven't noticed by now, I run fast and loose with my tarot. I like it to make sense to me. And beyond that, I am not married to a system. However, I think that each individual system has merits. I'm going to be studying Thoth as soon as I can carve out some time for myself. I've got the books. I've got the deck. I'm ready to study it. I've got multiple decks, actually. I am excited to dig into Thoth. I think it's important, if you are passionate about the tarot and it's something you want to learn and develop, that over time you do familiarize yourself with different systems and maybe learn about it, because it will expand your meanings. My tarot practice blossomed even more when I learned about Marseille, because Marseille has such a different way of looking at tarot and the art Oh my gosh, the Untold Tarot by Caitlin Matthews talks about how you look at the direction a court card is facing, or the position. What is the hermit shining his lamp on? That kind of thing. Oh my gosh, it transformed the way I look at cards forever. So now when I read a Rider-Waite-Smith card or reading, if I happen to think about it in that moment or it jumps out at me, I might look at what the hermit's lamp is shining on. I might look at which direction the chariot is pointing. I might look at which court cards are looking at each other. I never did that before learning about Marseille. So I think there's value in learning the different systems, even if, like me, once you learn them, you kind of moosh them together in whatever way seems fun in the moment. But I think it's useful to learn it. I think that for some who appreciate...
You just love the learning, though.
I love the learning. But yeah, for some who appreciate the tradition, you might want to be very attached to reading these cards the traditional way they were read. And that might be important to you. And that might be meaningful for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am part rote reading and part intuitive reading, and I can never unentangle those. So as it is, I might pull a Four of Swords, which might typically be about rest and getting away from chaos and like taking a break. And I might get, I might not get it's time to take a nap. I might get, you know what? You really need to maybe I'll look at something in the cards and I'll notice the window outside and I'll be like, you're feeling shut off from the rest of the world. That is not how that card is traditionally read, but that's about intuition. That's a totally different piece and I'm using the word intuition because that's the word I've always used, but there's different ways to define it. But I might go a completely different direction than what is the book would say, if that makes any sense. And that's just part of my own personal journey as a tarot reader, but I'm very long-winded about every answer. We're going to answer 7 questions in this video because I have a hard time shutting up about each one. Okay, let me see what I missed.
At least you admit you have a problem.
Yeah, that's right. Peggy's awake now.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh
my god.
Oh my gosh, I feel like the chat's going really fast. See here. I missed something by Whale Song. Okay. Oh, I did do a walkthrough of the Elemental Power Tarot. Yes. It's pippish, but the majors are really cool because they put you in the position of encountering each energy. It's really cool. The minors are good. They are good. They're very well thought out, but I really like the majors in that deck. You're welcome, Sarah. So let's take a look at another question. Thinking up. Oh, I was going to talk about this. Okay, yeah. So somebody else said thinking up different questions when asking. So I talked about how you can use books or journal prompts to give you a jumping off point. My favorite way. You're gonna have to mute that, yo.
What?
Mute your. she turns on her computer and my voice starts going. I'm like, you have to mute that, and she's like, at me, she can mute me. No, what? You have to mute your computer, not me. What? Anyways, I was going to talk about how you get started asking a question, right? So one of my favorite things to do is, and I've talked about this on the channel a little bit recently, but one of my favorite things to do is to grab an oracle deck that has a good keyword system. I don't have any handy. No, I don't. But I would grab an oracle deck and I'll shuffle and I'll just be like, what do I need to focus on today? What is the energy that is most important for me to be aware of today? And I'll shuffle and I'll pull an oracle card. And let's say the oracle card comes up and the keyword or the message on that oracle card is about let me just make something up here. It's hard to make stuff up on the fly. Let's say it's I don't know, I'm suddenly blanking. Okay, let's say it's abundance. Okay, so the card is about abundance or prosperity. So I'm like, okay, how can I form a question based on that energy? So my follow-up question to that oracle card might be, how can I invite or attract more prosperity or more abundance into my life today? And then I'd pull a tarot card and I'd think about how that tarot card answers that question. And then based on that answer, I will then maybe ask a follow-up question. Let's say I've asked, let me pull my court cards as an example. So I've said, how can I invite more prosperity today? How can I invite more abundance into my day today? Because that's what the oracle card made me think of. So I'll shuffle, in this case, just my court cards. And I've pulled the Princess of Pentacles. Okay. Hello. And the Princess of Pentacles says studious. Oh. So I need to work on improving my skills. I need to work on learning. Today, if I want to attract more prosperity, more abundance in my life, today, my goal is to build upon my skills, to learn something new or to invite new knowledge, to be curious, to attract more of that information. So now I've got that question answered. So then what would my follow-up question be? What should I focus on learning more about? What'd you just throw?
My glasses.
Oh. So
I'm
what
still not awake. You guys are great. Hi, everybody. There is no way I can keep up with saying hi back to all of you.
She's literally like rubbing her eyes still. She's waking up. It's so cute. So my follow-up question to this might be...
Insomnia is fun.
My follow-up question to this might be, okay, what should I focus on learning more about? So let's pull another court card. I've got the King of Pentacles. So maybe, because he's somebody I see as knowledgeable and skillful, maybe...
Me.
Hush. Maybe what I should focus on learning more about is leadership. Maybe I need to focus more on learning about how to be more of a leader. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I just kind of made that up on the fly. But I love forming a question from a card pull because I feel like it helps me kind of like initiate a question that's not just, what's my day going to be like today? Because that gets boring, right? And it gets rote. And then I stop getting really meaningful readings from it. Yes, that's a perfect way to do it. Corey says, I love that idea for my archetype cards. I can draw an archetype and ask how can I embody that spirit? Yes. There's lots of great Oracle decks that are great at doing that. The other thing is you can sign up for different mailing lists, like email lists that have daily like journal prompts. Journal prompts make excellent tarot questions. If you're not sure how to get out of a reading what you want, then try doing a prescribed spread as opposed to just throwing cards down. Just throwing cards down on the table can be really stressful and overwhelming if you don't know what they're trying to tell you because there's no context. You need a question, and if you're new, you might want to lean into a spread because spreads will give some shape and form and function to the question, right? If you do a energy obstacle advice spread for yourself, then you know that whatever card comes up in the energy position is defining the energy, right? Whatever card comes up in the obstacle is telling you what's in your way, and whatever card is coming up in the advice is giving you your advice for the day. It sounds simple, but it gives you context for the question. And please, nobody apologize for asking questions. That's literally why we're here today. Yep, Thriving Self-Care with Renee. I love using Oracle cards as a topic message and then drawing tarot cards to ask what else I need to know. Yes, that's exactly what I do. And that has been transformative for my daily tarot practice, for sure. Okay, let's take a look at some more common questions. There's a lot about the court cards, which I feel like we've kind of covered. Okay, so this is a really important one. I struggle with trying to decipher how my tarot cards work with each other. What is the story that my cards are trying to tell me? And a bunch of people liked on this question. So this is a big one for a lot of people. So here's the thing. It's one thing to be able to pull a card and go, okay, I know that the death card is about transformation. And I know that the tower card is about something being, of course I picked the dark cards, right? The tower card is about something's being kind of broken down or destroyed, right? Something's being torn down. And I know that the star card is about hope, but how do I string all of those cards together? So here's the really beautiful thing about learning a single keyword or multiple keywords even for each card is in the beginning, when you're trying to learn how to put the cards together, you make a sentence out of your 3 keywords. Simple. And this is a technique that is common for the system of Lenormand. Lenormand has a very punchy kind of system where you don't dive very deep into the meaning of each card. Each card has a very simple meaning, and you string the meanings together to kind of form a sentence. It's like word, 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 make a sentence. And it's an easy way to learn how to combine cards. So, for example, let me just grab a regular Rider-Waite-Smith deck, so I'm not always throwing the bootcamp and stuff decks up in the screen. So I've got my little reflective tarot. So let's go with keyword. We'll make up keywords for each card and we'll just string them together in a meaning. So let's say we've asked the question. What's a good question to ask the tarot? Just a general one.
I don't know.
Peggy's like holding her coffee like, well, why are you asking me? Okay, somebody come up with a question and put it in chat.
What should I think about?
No.
Oh,
You're done. Yeah, I'm done with you. I want us to chat now.
I'm gonna go back to bed.
Okay, bye.
I gotta get some iron and done.
Somebody throw in a sample question. I'm sure somebody already has. There's a delay in between the chat and my vision. Yep. Thriving Self-Care says learning how Lenormand is read was helpful to my tarot reading style so much. Yeah.
Yeah, actually that's true.
It's very true. Yeah.
It makes it really obvious
how to string them together.
And you don't exactly have to.
I know somebody's got a sample question for me. Come on now.
What does my cat think of my new haircut?
No, that is stupid.
That's Barb.
Oh, I thought that was you. What? If it's Barb, it's not stupid. It's only stupid if it's coming from you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. What does my cat think of my new haircut? Let's do it. Why not? Okay.
Doesn't have to be a real question.
It doesn't have to be a real question. I'm fumbling my cards.
Yeah, Emmy said, what do I need to accomplish today?
We'll do that one next. Okay. So what does my cat think of my new haircut? Let's do it. So we're going to pull whatever, man. Thanks, Barb. Thanks, Barb, for that. All right. So we're going to just pull 3 cards. All right. Yeah, Lenormand is the Mad Lib of decks. True. Okay. So we have the 5 of Wands as our first card. We have the World as our second card. And we have the 9 of Wands for our third card. So let's assign a keyword to each of these cards for the sake of the demonstration. So let's say the 5 of Wands is the card of competition. The World card is the card of completion. So we have competition, completion, and the 9 of Wands is the card of protection. So we have competition, completion, protection. So now I need to try to figure out how to form a sentence out of those 3 cards. So what does my cat think of my new haircut? Why is this such a weird question? Okay. So, competing energy, completion. Okay. why are you giggling? Peggy's up to no good over there. I can tell.
Barb said she's offended for me.
So game over. Okay. We can do this. We can do this.
I just said your cat thinks she's better than you.
Your cat thinks she's better than you. Yeah. So competition and completion. And protection. Your cat hates it, but your dog loves it. Could be. I kind of am feeling like if we were to take this, let me pick a different keyword. Let me try this. So competition, we can do cycles for the World. Something is ending, something's complete. That makes sense. Of course, we've reached the old phase of hairstyle. We're moving into the new phase of hairstyle. Sorry, my cat is sitting. You know what? I'm picking a different question. I can't. I just can't.
This is
okay, help me. Okay.
Okay.
Competition.
Your cat thinks she's competition. Your cat thinks she's better than you. The World. Sometimes you look good. Sometimes you don't look good. Your cat really doesn't fucking care. And then 9. The 9 is again. I'm sorry. The keyword that you picked.
Protection.
Protection. It's like your cat's just out for herself anyway. She'll tell you look pretty to save her own ass, but she really is like, whatever. I'll tell you what you want to hear.
That's great. Elisa,
your cat is not there to protect your feelings, but she's
yeah, Luna Libra says you're stealing your cat's thunder. Elisa says your cat thinks you shouldn't be going out, but you're back now, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, your cat wants food and does not want to put up with haircuts.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna do.
Your cat is worried about your cat, and sometimes you need a haircut, sometimes you don't.
Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna do another question too because that was hard. Okay, what do I need to accomplish today? This is easier. This is an easier one.
There you go.
Thank you, Emmy.
Yeah, Barb also said I think the job I was offered. Is that a better question?
Okay, yeah, we'll get there. Okay,
yeah,
so
do those 2.
What do I need to? I just threw the card. Okay, what do I need to accomplish today? We're gonna pick a new set of keywords. Peggy's a good helper for this because she's like a forever noob. She says it all the time. Okay, so all right. Okay, so what do I need to accomplish today? I don't know why I need to madly shuffle. It just feels good. So let's do it. What do I need to accomplish today? We're gonna pull 3 cards. All right, this will be way easier to pull a sentence. Okay, 8 of Wands, 3 of Swords, and the 7 of Pentacles. So 8 of Wands, let's say momentum. Okay, 3 of Swords. We have to learn lessons, maybe the hard way. But we have to learn something new because the 3 is about growth and expansion and learning. The 7 of Pentacles is about assessment. Ooh, okay, so I love this. So I feel like what I would get, what do I need to accomplish today? Well, let me get this in front of my face so it shows up. What do I need to accomplish today? Well, I need to slow down because everything's going so fast that I'm going to end up screwing something up if I don't slow down because everything's going fast. It's got momentum. It's got speed.
Where you could, but no.
Do not interrupt my reading. I will kick your butt.
No, how are the cards, the keywords connect in a sequence?
That's what I'm about to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is literally what I'm doing right now. Okay, so momentum, right? Momentum and learning. Okay, I need to learn to slow down. Momentum and learning, and then I need to reassess where I'm going next. So momentum, learning, reassess. Right? I need to learn to slow down. Right? Or there's something to be learned from how fast things are going. Maybe things are going really fast. I'm feeling really overwhelmed and stressed. And I have something to learn about just how much is on my plate. But still, I'm getting this reassessed. So I feel like I need to reassess where I'm headed next. Does that make sense? I hope I did that right. I'm getting sassy because Peggy's up. Let's try another one here. Should I take the job I was offered? Yeah, this is a good one. Okay, so let's do this one too. So again, we're going to try to stick with just a single keyword for every card. Ooh, got that wand energy. I know Peggy's the wand energy. She is literally the wand. Okay. Trying to rush things gets you hurt. Yeah, Elisa, that's perfect. Yeah, that's another good one. Yep. Trying to rush things gets you hurt, so you need to slow down and reassess. That would be it. That would have been again another good interpretation. Yes.
It just occurred to me.
Yeah, ask a question.
Because I just said to Bar, like, you know, we're joking around about the cat reading, right? And like, and so I just responded to Bar that, to be fair, I've had cats before, so it was an easy guess.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't sometimes if the context of the question and the context of the card, sometimes it just forms a natural connection.
Yeah. Like this is what
okay, cats in competition. It's a stereotype that cats just, you know, you are their servants and not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you already know a little bit about something that's related to the topic, that is something that you're automatically going to insert.
That's part of intuition. Dustin actually explained this really well. He and I got into a debate about intuition on 3 Fat Readers. And one of the things he mentioned is he said what we often mistake intuition and psychic ability. We get them mixed up. Intuition is part of where you take your own personal experiences and you contextualize what you're seing in the cards. Which is what you're describing. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of reading.
So the trick is to take stuff that's valid for that other you know, using your own knowledge.
Can you get it? Because I'm so trapped. Thank you. I dropped a card. Oh, I dropped several cards.
It's really tempting to just give your opinion and disguise it as a reading, or however you want to do
that.
Yeah. That's a trap that you can get into, because I've gotten into that trap. Say, well, I think blah, and it's like, yeah, but that's not what the cards are saying. Yeah. Okay.
And the replay of this video will be available when we're done here today, so it's not going away when the live is over. Anyway, that's a really good point.
Is that because sometimes you already know something, and it's not like I know Barb's cat in particular.
It might be already dealt with, but there's something to look at in the chat. So, and I'm just going to open up this. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. I want to make sure. Oops, I did the wrong thing here. Give me 2 seconds here. So we're going to answer the same question with 3 cards again. And this time we're going to answer, should I take the job I was offered? Okay. Should I take the job I was offered? So let's see what 3 cards come up this time. The microphone's like right where my table is, so you're hearing loud shuffling, I'm quite sure. Which is fine, because it's a nice sound. We like the sound.
Their ears are starting to bleed.
No, they're not. They're fine. Shush. Okay. So I have the 4 of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords, and the 5 of Wands again. So let's pick a keyword for each card, just on the fly. So 4 of Pentacles, we'll call this one...
Hoarding.
Sure, we'll use Peggy's word of hoarding.
That's the one that we kind of agreed on when I was...
No, that's a shadowy one. Anyways, 9 of Swords is worry. And 5 of Wands is competition. Hoarding. Why are you patting your head?
Because I understand the reason.
Okay, Peggy's really excited about stringing these cards together. Okay, so we have hoarding, worry, competition. Go ahead, babe. Interpret.
Okay. Hoarding is you've already got resources, you've already got stuff that
I gotta put this in the other order.
Choose to hang on to, or hoarding or keeping track of your resources. So you've already got you're already doing kind of okay. So the anxiety, the next card is the anxiety card. So that is if you make any abrupt changes, like there's some anxiety about what if these abrupt changes don't work out. And then the last card is competition. So that is, what if you're just doing it as a way of competing with yourself, competing with the status quo, and it's not necessarily going to get you anywhere.
Oh, we were out of competition. I forgot.
So it's whether or not you should take the job, right? Whether or not you should take the job, you can afford to stay where you are right now, and you've got some anxiety and some worry where the competition, where the idea of competition is. So it might be that you are just emotionally not in the right space to consider an offer right now, or that, and this is up to you to decide that whether or not you may be holding yourself back with unnecessary anxieties and worries, or it might just simply be that you have enough anxiety and worry that maybe this isn't the right choice for you right now.
Yep, that's great. Sugar Shock says, holding on to the worry of upcoming competition or test. Yes. Justin says, through competition, you've hoarded too much. Now all you do is worry, so no new job for you. And you can you see how we're stringing them together by going word, word, word. Now, what is it telling us? And that's what Peggy just did. And whether you do it in go really in depth like she just did, or whether you do it in a really concise way like Justin and Sugar Shock, it's the same kind of thing. You get this idea that we can string. Does anybody want to do another one? We can do another one. I thought there was another question.
See, for me, once that happens, then I let my own intuition take
Yes,
over,
you start to build on it.
I can fill in the details.
Yeah, you can totally build on it. Does anybody want to do another sample question so we can play with more of this idea of stringing together? Oops. Oh, damn it, honey.
You just throwing cards away. There was another question. I thought there was one
There might have been another one. Yeah, I think I might have missed it. Let me scroll up. Oh, I'm sorry. What deck I'm using? I totally missed that question. Thanks for people answering it. It is the Reflective Tarot by US Games. The box looks like this. It's so pretty. It's like the prettiest Rider-Waite-Smith that I've seen ever. And I don't get excited about this deck, so that's saying something. Oh, this is a good question. Let's while I wait for another sample question, let me answer this one. Elisa says, how do you interpret a good card in a bad position? Like, what should I leave behind? Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
Storybook Tarot just popped up with a good one.
Okay, I'm going to do this first, though. Okay, so let's take a really good card, like something like that's unquestionably good. Okay, the 10 of Cups. Okay, what should I leave behind? Now, the 10 of Cups shows this happy family. It's all rainbowy. I mean, it's arguably one of the most positive cards in the entire tarot deck. What should I leave behind? I'm going to tell you what I think. Perfection. The idea of everything has to look like this all the time. The idea that everything has to look perfect, that everybody has to be this smiling, happy family all the time. Where are you holding yourself to perfection? What you do is you take the card that's good and you think about how could this, it sounds really simple, but you say, how could this be bad? Let's take another example. I'll ask Peggy. Because again, let's play with our super noob. Okay. Okay. The Star card, all about hope. How could that be something you need to leave behind? All about hope and healing and coming back to yourself after a tough time.
Okay. So
what should I leave behind is the question. And the key word is hope.
Hope. You should leave behind okay. I would personally say that you should leave behind the expectation that life is going to resume to perfect, to normal, to whatever. That if you are like, I'm trying to heal from a trauma and I expect to get 100% back to normal, give that idea up. You're not getting back.
Ooh, yeah. You would need to give it time. It's not going to be an instant fix.
You carry your scars, you carry your baggage.
Yep.
And so if you expect to revert to perfect, you're in for a nasty surprise because then you will feel like you have never succeeded.
I love that. That's perfect.
Did I get okay?
Yep, that was perfect.
You
keep
saying
good.
Perfect, and I'm like, did I do good? Can I have a cookie? I can have cookies.
Hey, I'd like a cookie. I want a cookie. I
did the.
I want a cookie. But I'm hosting the live stream. I want a cookie.
I interpreted the card. I get a cookie.
Everybody gets a cookie, and you get a cookie, and you get a cookie. Sorry, channeling my inner Oprah. Okay. That was a really good question. So thank you for asking it, and I hope I answered it. You're welcome. What was the good question you saw, babe?
I can't find it again.
Oh. You did bring me a cookie. I have a cookie, guys. Yay. Okay. Santiago says, stop waiting around, hoping for things to happen and start making them happen. That is an excellent interpretation as well. Yes. Okay. Patricia says, can you do an example of a bad card in a good position as well, such as where should I be thankful? Yeah, let's do that one. Or the question might have come. A bad card in a good position. I gotcha. Okay, so let's pull a bad card, like a real bad card. Let's do it. Let's just go for the gold here. Well, that's bad, but we could get worse. Hold on. Okay, all right. Let's do Peggy again because this is fun. Okay, keyword destruction.
Blew my mouth.
I don't care. Chew fast. The keyword is destruction. Okay.
The tower.
The tower. Okay. I know, but I'm giving a keyword for context for everybody. Okay. So the keyword is destruction, and the question is, where should I be thankful?
Okay. At the tower, there's a period of rebuilding. So where you should be thankful is that in spite of whatever horrible, fantastic thing is happening right now, what's coming next is going to be far better than what you're leaving behind.
Love that. I love that. Another interpretation for this might be, if I pull the tower and the question I asked is, where should I be thankful? I should be thankful for all the things that through good or through bad, have fallen away from my life, that while it was difficult to go through at the time, I have learned and grown as a person. I'm stronger now. This to me would be an indication that I should celebrate the ways that I have benefited from the difficult experiences in my life, because even the most, I shouldn't say every single thing this is true of, because it's not, but most of the really hard times in my life, I have somehow become stronger or better as a person, or learned a really valuable lesson as a result. So that's what I would lean into. Thank you for asking that question. That was a really good follow-up. Yeah, I love that, Pamela Batchelor. Tower to me represents the word of God pulling my ways apart. That's a really powerful way to look at the tower, because the tower, that lightning bolt is a strike from above, right? So it's usually represents some kind of knowledge, often divine knowledge, but some kind of knowledge that's come to us is what is breaking apart our preconceived ideas or notions. But that's a whole rabbit hole we could go down. I'm so glad this is helpful to people. The overall theme of life is that things do get better. Yes, Justin. Yes, they do get better. They do get better. That's a really important reminder for a lot of us, I think.
Says, can the Five of Wands really represent the test, or is there a better card than that for test?
For test? I think the Five of Wands is a great card for test. I'm trying to think if there's anything I would think of that would be better. It depends on the kind of test. Okay, so if I felt like my ethics were being tested or questioned, then the Seven of Wands might be a good one, right? Because we're standing up for what's important to us. We're standing up for our ideals. We sometimes feel we're overwhelmed by the majority, but we're standing up anyways, kind of thing. But like for like more of a test, I feel like the Five of Wands is a pretty good card. Yeah, whale song could be thank the stars that whatever it is gone. Word could be, yeah, the tower where I should be thankful. Are you sure everything is breaking apart, or are you planted a seed that is breaking open? Oh, I love that. I love that. That is a beautiful visual, because of course seeds break open as they grow and bloom. So there's the destruction of the casing of the seed as the plant grows. I think that's a really great tower analogy. I love when she's distracted and not noticing that I'm having cookies for breakfast. Honey, this is not new for you. You act like this is new. Like, why would I be surprised you're having cookies for breakfast? I'm having cookies for breakfast. Hello? Judge not.
You haven't eaten yet?
No.
You're a dumbass.
I got up at like 10. By the way, Bruno has to have his second insulin shot pretty late tonight.
Oh my God.
He got insulin at like 9:45. Well, probably closer to 10, because 10 is when I woke up. Why are you here? Bruno's like, hello, I like cookies. Don't mind me. I'm just going to eat on camera and catch up on the chat. Okay, let's see what I missed. We were going to ask another question and string cards together. Can we talk about Five of Swords versus Seven of Swords? I'll let Peggy find our next question for that. And I'm going to talk about Seven of Swords versus Five of Swords. That's a good question. Okay. Five of Swords.
Well, I have the next question.
Okay. Well,
the next question that I've noticed.
Don't give it to me yet, because I'm answering a different question first. Just hold it. Don't lose it. Okay. Please. I should say please. Not be so bossy. Okay. I'm never going to find the Seven of Swords. Okay. Let's talk about these. Doop, 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 doop. It's going to be the last damn card. It is like literally. There it is. It was one of the last cards in the damn deck. Okay. Okay. Five of Swords pictures a battlefield with a winner in the front who's actually kind of smirky and cocky. And then two people with their backs forward. Their swords are on the ground. So the one of the keywords that's common for the Five of Swords is defeat. I like to think of the Five of Swords dude in the front as kind of a bully, because he kind of feels like a bully. One of my most memorable meanings is actually from Peggy's Dragon deck, where it says you've won, but at what cost? There's different ways to look at this card, but it's often about losing or winning. It depends on which character you are. Are you, in your situation, one of these figures in the back, or are you the figure in the front? Are you the one that's just defeated somebody, but maybe not in the best way possible, or maybe you overdid it a little bit? This could be like poor sportsmanship, or like gloating over a win, or like that kind of thing, like, or maybe going about it kind of a not great way. Were you a bully in the situation? Were you bullied? Were you the person who overpowered something or somebody, or were you the one that was overpowered? So looking at which perspective you're coming at, that's kind of the kind of energy I look at with the Five of Swords. Nope, Bruno, you have to stay. You're not having any peanut butter cookie. The Seven of Swords we see somebody doing a little sneaky sneak, or they think they are. They're running away from a tent. They've got 7 swords, 2 of which looks like they're leaving behind. So they're leaving a trail through which they're probably going to get caught. The 7 of swords often speaks about dishonesty or trickery, or I like to call it the sneaky sneak card. There's some kind of sneaky sneak going on. There's something happening that's not quite fully above board. Probably this person is going to get caught, or it's going to be found out in some way. That's how I see it. It's not always that. 7s in general are also cards about turning points. So 7s can be, of all the suits, can be cards about hitting a point where a decision you make will set you on one path or another path. Like it's kind of like a crossroads or an assessment or like a turning point. So the 7 of swords to me could represent that temptation to take a shortcut, to do something maybe in an unscrupulous way. Whereas the 5 of swords, 5s are conflict and disruption, right? Where is their conflict? Where is their disruption? So these have very different energies, but I can see how, because both can kind of speak to not doing things in the nicest way. One is about power, a power play, and one is about a sneaky sneak. And those are like my ways of kind of differentiating them. I hope that made some sense. I hope that was helpful. Another thing you can do is pull out a guidebook or even pull up a webpage and read about one and then read about the other and make a little list of how they're different and like compare, right? Okay. Question. Should I get a nose job or just buy a contour palette? Okay, look, Barb. First of all,
now she's going to tell you off.
Start with the contour palette because it's cheaper and you can undo it and go from there. All right. I got to find the comment I highlighted because now I've lost it because the chat is moving so fast. I love that y'all are here. Okay.
Teenager?
Okay. What was the question, babe?
I just put it up.
Where did you put it up? Oh,
in the chat.
Well, thank you. When will my teenager stop acting like a freaking asshat? Okay. So timing questions. That's interesting. That's a whole rabbit hole. Let's do a 3-card keyword and see what we get. I've only had one bite of my cookie. Hold on. I have another bite. Elisa's answer is probably accurate. When they turn 35.
About right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're almost there with the oldest. Well,
I'd say probably by late 20s. Late 20s, you're usually getting there. Okay. I always get confused because the main character is holding 2 swords in both cards. Well, the main character is holding 3 swords in the 5 of swords and holding 5 swords in the 7 of swords. Actually, I don't know how helpful that is. But in one case, you've won the 5 swords. Maybe not in the best way possible. In the other, you've stolen 5 swords, 5 7 swords, right? So stealing versus winning, you can win but still be shitty about it. But stealing is completely different, right? Okay. When will my teenager stop acting like an asshat? Yeah, I got to get through that first Saturn return. Hello. Yeah, okay. Let's pull our 3 cards. Okay. We have the Ace of Cups. And I like to think of the Ace of Cups as a blessing. So let's use the keyword blessing. Some of these may line up with Tarot with Training Wheels and some of them won't. The 8 of Pentacles, which is about learning, doing the same thing over and over again. So we're just going to say learning. Let's say mastery, because we're at the point of learning where we're refining, we're mastering. So let's say mastery. So we've got blessing, mastery, and we have the King of Wands. And we're going to say charismatic. Charismatic. Okay. Peggy.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're the super noob. Come
on. Okay. So, blessing. What was the second one again?
Mastery.
Mastery.
I should hold them this way.
Blessing, mastery, and charismatic.
And charismatic.
So, basically, it's like whatever he's doing isn't nearly as bad as what he could be doing. He is still a blessing to have in your life. He is going to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over. Welcome to the teenage years. But as he'll learn a little bit more every time he makes.
Oh my God, that's so good.
He will learn a little more every time he makes these mistakes, and he will eventually get better.
And grow up.
And grow up. And that's what the mastery is. He's going to grow. He may or may not grow out of everything, but he's going to grow out of the stuff that is really just vexing you to no end.
Perfect.
But
didn't really answer the question of when. Yeah.
Time frames really, I think the fact that the cards ignore anything that you could look at in terms of time just is kind of like that's that's the fact that there's nothing that you can pinpoint towards time is like the whole just be patient because it's probably going to take more time than you like, but he will get there.
You could play with timing a few different ways.
Yeah,
you could. No, that's fine. You could. So you could say, and I don't usually do timing like this, but you could say, okay, there's an ace and an 8. So at 18, could be. Hopefully not at 81, because that'd be a long, long wait. You could say in about a year and 8 months. You could say in 18 years. There's different ways to play with the numbers. There's a lot of different things to do with tarot timing, and I'm no expert in that field because I don't do that kind of thing very often. I look at more milestones, like the way that Peggy read. Like he'll get there when he's learned enough and he's gone through enough that he can like continue to refine his own behavior. I say his. I just totally guessed your teenager's gender. That's super inappropriate of me. I'm sorry.
I'm really bad for that too.
I know. It's like I just pick one and I just go to roll with it, which is terrible.
Well, because I don't know about you. I'm older, so for me, like even though I absolutely have all respect for non-binary, but it's such an ingrained habit that it's a social habit too. Yeah. That we're all working on, I think. I think that's the trick to always
be aware of it. Yeah. Oh, a Queen of Shovels is here. Hello, Christy.
Christy is here. Hello.
Barb says he's pulling that wool over your eyes with his charismatic way. Totally.
Oh, absolutely.
Blessing, mastery, charismatic. Thank you for repeating the keywords. Does anybody else have any interpretations they felt like sharing? 8 and aces is the dead man's hand.
Sugar Shock.
I don't know what that means.
Sugar Shock, once he learns to control his wand, that was off color.
Lord. Okay.
You're fitting in just fine, Sugar Shock.
But her dominant energies are masculine. So y'all aren't wrong with the he. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's still good to be. I try not to especially when I'm doing readings for other people, I try to always not guess genders.
Yeah.
Because I just want it can be off-putting if you're getting a reading. This is not anything other than the fact that if I'm getting a reading and somebody like doesn't know that my spouse is a woman, for example, and says he, it just throws me. It's kind of like you lose your immersion in that moment. It just kind of throws you off. It's like if you're role playing something and then somebody like pulls out their cell phone. It's just like, it just throws things off. You know what I mean? That's all it is for me. But okay, let me get to another question because I feel like we definitely have a lot here. We talked about coming up with a good question and weaving together the different card meanings. That was a very common one. Okay, somebody else talks about, I don't get the difference between the 2 of Wands and the 3 of Wands.
Funny how when we heard ASAP, we all thought of a guy.
Okay, that's a true story.
Sorry to all the men who might be watching this.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you know what though, but that's the thing. It's like we're still moving. We're still moving through shit as a society, and everybody moves at their own pace as long as they're moving.
That's right. Let's talk about this question because this is such a good question. The difference between the 2 and the 3 of Wands. This is one that stumps a lot of us. Okay, so let me grab them. And we are going to have, by the way, because I don't know how long we're going to be on today, but I'm going to have another one of these check-ins in a few weeks, maybe in about a month. I can check my calendar and let you guys know exactly when it's going to be so that we can continue to check in throughout the courses.
Oh yeah, Alana had asked a question about what her next romantic partner is going to look like.
Oh, I'm done doing sample questions for now, though.
Oh, but okay.
If we need another sample question, I'll try to remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Come here, Bruno. Have my crumbs. Okay.
Yeah, but she is an asshat, but a brilliant one, which is worse. Yeah.
Okay, the 2 and the 3. These look so similar. In both image, we have a character, maybe even the same character, who looks like they are looking out over the horizon. In this case, we have a character who's holding the world in their hand and they're looking out over a vast domain. We see some sea and some land. In this one, we see a character, it looks like maybe it's a sunrise or sunset, and they're looking out over a sea and there's little ships on the horizon. So let's talk about the difference. And I'm actually going to pull the Druidcraft 2 of Wands and 3 of Wands as well. And I apologize to anybody who doesn't want spoilers for our keywords because you'll probably end up seeing some other spoilers. But let me grab the 2 and the 3 of Wands. Oh, these are not good examples. No, these are terrible examples. I want another deck. Do you have a deck, Candy? Can you get me another deck?
Yeah.
Any deck. It doesn't matter. Preferably not your cute and creepy, I say, because I don't remember what the 2 or 3 looks like. Grab me like 2 different decks.
Am I just grabbing them from your room?
Any 2. Yeah. As long as they're tarot. Not, you know where my tarot...
No, I don't. Your stuff is scary.
Okay. Pull from the rack that's right over my reading table. Any two, because those are my favorites. Okay. Peggy's gonna get us some more decks. I find tarot numerology really helpful. Yeah, we get into numerology and tarot bootcamp for beginners because it does really help inform the different cards. Peggy totally just farted in the back. Did you guys hear that? Oh my god! Did you do that second one on purpose?
Well, yes.
I call you out for farting, so she's like, I'm gonna fart louder now. Well, you're a dork.
No, you're a dork because you're like, I know my wife and I know what she's gonna do next if I say something, and you said something.
She picked really good ones. She picked the Light Seers, or the Light Seers is this one, and the Modern Witch Tarot is this one. So we're gonna pull the 2 and the 3 from this one too. You're so passive aggressive. Who passively aggressive farts? Peggy does. That too.
Who passively aggressively goes, oh my gosh, she just farted.
That's not passive aggressive. That's just noting, like making notice something that actually happened.
You're just jealous because you have to fart and you've been holding it in for an hour.
I don't have to fart. Oh my god.
Why did we go from talking to
Because you're here. You're here. That is why farts are happening. Jesus. Okay.
Only 60. Let's get to 111 likes. Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Okay. I'm going to pull the 2 and the 3 from the Light Seers. Oh, this is such a good 2, too. 2. That's what I said. I'm going to eat another cookie while I'm searching. Mm-hmm. I have a very specific perspective on the 3 of Wands.
Ooh, what questions can I ask frequently so that I can practice with my cards?
Mm-hmm. What do I need to learn today? What do I need to focus on? What am I not aware of, but I need to be aware of?
Yeah,
like, what do I need to know about myself? Mm-hmm. How can I best navigate the rest of my day? How can I get a lot done at work today? How can I succeed at goal X? Why am I having such a hard time finding the 3 of Wands in this deck? Oh my gosh. I swear I've been through it twice.
That should be Peggy's next video title. She had poo. She had poo. Now she should have one with farts in the title.
Oh no. Poor Peggy. There's the 3. Okay. Whew, that took a long time. Okay. So that's a Light Seers, and I'm going to grab the Modern Witch, which should be similar to Rider-Waite-Smith, but we'll see. And okay. I wish we can unlike and relike, and it would count as more. That's very sweet. Okay. Modern Witch. Oh, these are such good decks. I love all my decks so much. They're like my babies. I know I'm a dork. Whatever. I will find them. These are such great questions. Okay, there's the 3. And I just need the 2. Oh, hello. We have upside down cards happening. I don't know how, but we did. Okay. 2. I just need a 2. But I got to finish my cookies, so like winning. There we go. I should have had Peggy helping me. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. Anyway.
Well, because you.
Shush.
Now we know why.
Okay. So classic 2 of Wands we showed you, right? 2 of Wands. I got to get it in front of my face or it won't focus. Okay. So 2 of Wands. 3 of Wands, right? Okay. Let's look at the Modern Witch Tarot because this is very similar. 2 of Wands, only she's holding her phone, not the world. And the 3 of Wands still looking out over a sea with ships. But the Light Seers is, I think we're going to see the biggest difference. Here's the 2 of Wands, and our character is sitting. She's got the globe in front of her. She's looking out over whatever she can see from her perspective inside her apartment. Here's the key thing.
Chrissy says, now I have to pull out the Queen of Shovels says, same. Now I have to pull out the same decks because you just mentioned them.
Yep. Okay. So I want to focus for this for just a second because I don't want to lose the point. So 2 of Wands, she's sitting in her room. She's looking out the window. Just like in these other versions of the 2 of Wands, our person is within their home area, right? We're seeing somebody that looks like on the edge of a castle wall. Same thing here. They're at home. They're looking out. and they're holding the world in their hands, or they have the world near them. The world is a representation of everything that's possible, right? It's kind of like if you're planning a trip. This person might be planning a trip. You're wistfully looking out and going, gosh, I really want to go somewhere, and I've got the world in my hands. Anything is possible. Where could I go? It's like this restless feeling of like, what could I be doing? And my favorite word for this card, my favorite keyword, one of my favorite keywords, I don't know which one I use for tarot with training wheels, is possibility. Or potential. Possibility and potential are both great words, but I like possibility. Anything's possible in the Two of Wands. And often this comes right after the Ace of Wands, where we suddenly had an idea. So like, let's take this character, for example. She's already had her Ace of Wands moment. She's already had that moment where she was like, I'm getting the urge to like do something new, to start a new creative endeavor, to go someplace, to do something, to go on a metaphorical or an actual adventure. In the Two, she's now thinking about, but what is that adventure going to be? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? What's possible? So there's this idea of possibility. It's expanse, right? There's this wide range of where you could go next. Yes. Be the Infinity says entertain options. Yes. A lot of times twos are different kinds of choices. Well, in the Two of Wands, we're kind of trying to choose, what are we going to do and how's it going to look? It's kind of an amorphous idea. The idea is kind of beginning to form about what we're going to do. But as far as like when we think of wands being associated with adventure and creativity and passions and vocations and things, we're thinking about like, what is it though? What's it going to be? Like, it's that curious, exciting moment, right? And then in the Three, our character has her surfboard and she's looking at the sea. She knows what she's going to do and she's just beginning to go do it now. So to me, the progression from the Two to the Three, we go from possibility to actually embarking on what it is we're going to do. We're beginning the journey. We're starting now. There's a starting. Now we've decided, okay, we're going to surf. That's what we've decided. We're going to go surfing. We're going to the beach. We're going to Tofino. We're going to go surf. We've got our surfboard. We're all dressed up. We're ready to go. And we're literally on the beach, ready to go step into the water. So to me, the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands is about the shift, the movement between possibility and planning to actually putting those things into motion. And what we often hear referred to with the Three of Wands is that we're waiting for our ship to come in. So if the Two of Wands, in a more traditional way of reading, is about, where's my two? There it is. If my Two of Wands is about planning and about opportunity and about like, maybe I've partnered with somebody on a business venture because I'm getting ready to do that. So I'm thinking about how I could do something with somebody, right? Then in the Three, we've made our decision. We've decided we're going to go into business and we're now waiting for our ship to come in with all our supplies that we're going to sell. Or we're waiting for our ship to come in as a result of what we've put into motion after deciding in the Two. There's a lot of different ways to look at this, but one of the best ways to understand the relationship between cards is to understand what's happened in between. And in fact, there are tarot decks that Llewellyn, I think, has created. I think Llewellyn created them, or US Games, I can't remember, called like the before tarot, the after tarot, the in-between tarot, that take the Rider-Waite-Smith and kind of show what could be happening before or after these moments we see pictured. But I feel like here it's really clear, right? We're thinking about what it is that we're going to do. We're considering our options. We've made a decision and we're starting now. So embark is one of my favorite words here. Possibility is one of my favorite words here. Okay? Does that make sense? Her foot is even slightly lifted. Yes. Her foot is even slightly lifted in the Three. See that down there at the bottom? It's like she's beginning to actually move towards the water. You're putting things into motion now. You're moving forward with your project, your plan, your creativity, whatever it is that the wands are representing for you in that reading. I hope that made sense. Elisa says, so what is the difference between the Two of Wands and the Two of Pentacles? And then she says something about or do I mean the Two of Swords? Well, let's grab the other twos. This is fun. I could literally freaking do this all day. I can't because we have things to do, but I want to.
Have to do a bunch of ironing.
Oh, well, why aren't you ironing? I'm just kidding.
I
I love that you're being social. I was just joking. I was teasing you. She looked so sad for a second.
Nice for change.
Oh, I'm so glad, Jirachi. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the Light Seers Tarot rather than Modern Witch for now because I feel like it's more illustrative and is giving us more to jump off of. So let's take a look at the... Here, can you pull out... Han, can you pull out the other twos from this? Can you pull out the Two of Swords and the Two of Pentacles from that deck? No, it's fine.
Two of Swords and Two of Pentacles?
Yeah, because I want to look at both just in case. Here's the Two of Pentacles. I think you might be thinking Two of Swords and Two of Wands because all the twos can have an element of choice or decision, for sure. I love the Light Seers Tarot. It's just great. It's really
Two of
great.
Pentacles.
And Two of Swords. I've got both already for mine. Slowpoke. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna drink the rest of my coffee. I'm so glad I got a cookie in me. I feel so much better.
Some raw calories to get you going. Oh my god.
This is making me want to buy the Reflective Tarot. It's so pretty. It's shiny. It's the Radiant Tarot. It's the Radiant Tarot by US Games, just with this holographic kind of shiny applied. But it's so pretty. I don't know why. I just love it. Okay.
I just grabbed all 4.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Oh, and you grabbed the High Priestess too.
Oh, that was a mistake.
That's okay. She's still a 2.
Oh, fine.
that's why you grabbed her.
Oh, then there should be 5 cards here.
No, because I've got the other one here.
Oh, no. Just
You're fine. Okay, so let's talk about the Two of Wands versus the Two of Swords. So, Two of Wands is this one. Okay, Two of Wands is this one. So, possibility, right? We're looking at what's possible. Where are we going to go next? Now, remember, Wands are associated with, and we'll be getting into this more when we get into the Minor Arcana for Tarot with Training Wheels, but Wands are associated more with like fire, with passions, with creativity, that sort of thing. The Swords are associated with what's happening in our intellect, in our minds, and we have the Two of Swords here. Now, in both cases, a decision is kind of trying to be made. In the Wands, it's about, where am I going to take my next adventure? Like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? What am I going to pursue next, right? In the Two of Swords, it could be any decision. And our character is sitting here and she's like blindfolded and she's crossing her heart, which tells me that she's blocked in this emotive area here, right? And she's blocking her heart. She's sitting here like this and she's like, if she either could be wrong, right? Because you can actually, the way that the swords are around her neck, either could hurt herself if she swings incorrectly. So you could think about it like, it could feel like there's no good decision. It can feel like they're both difficult decisions. It can feel like either decision comes with consequences, but there's an investment in the decision. There's a feeling of like, I feel like really tugged either direction, and I don't know how to get clarity. And the blindfold implies that, and I think the blindfold implies, and the water behind her implies, she needs to get in touch with her emotion a little bit and connect the heart and the mind to make a clear decision. That's one of my favorite interpretations for the Two of Swords. But let's look at it through the lens of the Light Seers Tarot. Two of Wands. So here's our Two of Wands again in the Light Seers Tarot, right? She's looking out the window. She's considering what's possible. Versus the Two of Swords. She can't see and she's got crows like pecking at her hair and like pulling this way and that. And there's 2 paths behind her. So which path is she going to take? One crow is pulling her one way. The other crow is pulling her the other way. And if you look on her arm there, it looks like there's like a scale. It's like the air element and 2 swords. It's like an actual Two of Swords tattoo, which is kind of interesting. She's being pulled this way and that. In the Two of Swords, you literally feel like there's like, you don't know what to choose, and you don't, it's a scary choice in some way. It's feeling stressful because you don't know, and you feel like there's going to be consequences and you don't know which way to go. Whereas the Two of Swords. So this is a much more uncomfortable feeling.
For me, the Two of Swords is a cuts both ways.
It could, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to cut you no matter what decision you make. You just need to figure out what's going to be the least damaging.
See, I don't see it that way. I see it much more neutral, but that's okay. That's a different interpretation.
Okay. It all, but again, like we just like you just showed, it depends on the context of the reading.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah, absolutely, it does. So here's the thing. So for me, this is all about openness and expansion, and how are we? It seems very optimistic, whereas the Two of Swords feels very stressful. Very different experiences to be making a choice, right? Very different situations where we might feel a need to make a decision. But in the Two of Swords, I feel like we're trying to decide between 2 very clear paths. And I feel like in the Two of Wands, it's not about choosing between 2. It feels like any choice could be made. It's much more open and expansive feeling. So that's how I feel about that one. In the Two of Pentacles, just for contrast, okay? In the Two of Pentacles, what we're often seeing is traditionally we'll see a juggler, right? And the juggler, or the person, is trying to keep both of these balls in the air, but you can see behind him all of these turbulent waters behind him. Okay, so you get this feeling of like there's a lot going on. There's almost like you're on shaky ground and you're trying to keep your balls in the air, right? You're trying to keep both things kind of balanced, and it's hard to keep both of them managed. So a lot of times the Two of Pentacles is about choosing where you're going to prioritize or put your energy or your resources than it is about trying to make. Oh, that's going to be Amazon. Hold on, I got to mute us for just a sec. I had to tell the dogs to sit. Amazon is here with our dog treats, not Dex, sadly. She just told them to come up and then promptly went into the bathroom. Hun, I hope you're coming back. She rings the Amazon driver up and then she goes in the bathroom. Okay. What's in those cookies? It's peanut butter. They're peanut butter cookies from the Superstore, which if you don't know, the real Canadian Superstore is like a major grocery store chain up here because that's not Canadian or anything. Oh my God. So funny. She's like, is it muted? And then she immediately farted. I was like, oh my God. And then I ratted her out because I'm a brat. All right. Nothing.
What'd you do?
Nothing. Hello? Why are you here? Hello, Bruno.
What'd you do?
I told them that as soon as I muted the thing,
farted.
you farted. Why? This happened as soon as Peggy came back in. He's like, "Hello, I need you now. Excuse me for a moment." Apparently, I need to hug my dog. Buddy, you're okay.
I've got a big package and I just scared her.
She's got. Oh, that's what it is. He doesn't like packages or boxes. He's like, I don't like it. It makes too much noise. There we go. Oh, I love this sugar shock. No matter what you do, you're going to come away with a tattoo of this event on your heart. What a beautiful way to represent that card. And that's true. No matter what you decide, that it's going to be impactful. It's going to be, it's going to affect you, right? Which can be where some of that tugging and pulling can feel like, because you know there's going to be a consequence of some kind.
Yeah, you're not scared anymore.
Oh, Mary, it's 4 a.m. where I am right now, but I'm happy to catch this live. Good morning, Lisa and Peggy. So I'm really excited that we're getting to answer all these questions. And again, don't worry, we're going to be doing this again. I'm going to take a look back at the list of questions I had again and see if there's other ones. Okay. Okay, I know what the judgment card means, but I can't understand it in a reading. Okay, hands up in the chat if judgment is one of the most confusing cards you've come across in your tarot journey, because this is not unusual. It's not unusual. Let me pull a couple versions of judgment as well. I'm glad that we have this. This is like what we're doing in tarot with training wheels. We're just also doing it now live. Which is
this is giving more context and more
yeah. Elf says, with Two of Swords, I associate that with River Tam from Serenity and Firefly. I don't remember River well enough. I kind of do, but not well enough to completely understand that reference. Peggy might though.
Honestly, I've only seen the series through.
Enjoy your nail appointment storybook. Oh my goodness, does your little dog read tarot too? He's always running into our arms. He's really cute. Okay.
He's a cuddler.
He is a cuddler. Okay.
They both are, but Shayla won't.
Shayla doesn't cuddle on camera. It's like she knows.
Shayla cuddles in bed. She wants you laying down so she can lay down.
Oh, you find Temperance more confusing? Okay, let's pull Temperance also, because that's a good one to talk about.
Yeah, I liked Firefly.
Firefly was good. Okay, can you pull?
Oh, I know who River Tam is. Okay,
yeah, can you pull Temperance and Judgment from that, please?
You know, you really should have a deck that's in order.
I have a deck right here that's in order. I want more than one.
And Judgment.
Temperance and Judgment. Oh, these are good examples. Okay, good. Okay, so we'll talk about Judgment first, and then we'll talk about Temperance. Oh, and we'll talk about the Lovers. Can you pull the Lovers too?
Temperance and Judgment.
The Lovers is a good one. Where's my Lovers card? It's like not in its proper.
You have a.
I don't know, but it's not where it's supposed to be. Hold on. Oh, there it is. It's out of order for some. Out of order. Okay, I gotta get the Lightseers Lovers. So we'll talk about Judgment, Temperance, and the Lovers.
God, I'm halfway through the deck.
Can you grab Justice too? Justice, the Lovers, Temperance, Judgment. There's the Lovers for Lightseers.
3/4 of the way through the deck and just found Temperance. I'm still looking for Judgment.
And Justice.
I'm going to hurt you.
Don't hurt me. Hurt the people in chat. Yes, we're definitely going to talk about Judgment and Justice. I talk about that a little bit already in Tarot with Training Wheels, but we'll spend a couple more minutes on it in here.
Okay. Temperance, Justice, and the Lovers, and Judgment, you said?
Judgment, Justice, Temperance, the Lovers. Yep.
So Justice.
Yes. Yes.
Justice.
Yes.
There it is.
I don't know why you're repeating it 8 million times.
Because I had to go through 77 cards to find.
Okay. I need to grab Justice from my.
I just grab all the cards.
I know we can't do this for the whole day. Bye, Lunar Libra.
Oh, Sun.
Sun. Oh, Dustin's here. I was like, is your son here? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
The adopted
The
one.
non-biological son. Yes, got it. Okay.
The adopted pseudo son.
Okay. Let's talk about justice just by itself, or excuse me, judgment just by itself first. You didn't give me judgment. You gave me the high priestess.
Oh my god.
Where how did you mix those two up?
Because they're probably side by side.
Probably. I still need judgment. Okay, we're gonna talk about judgment. Let's talk about. So I've got them in front of me here. The adopted one. Oh no, I'm hitting buttons. Don't hit buttons. Okay, come do my laundry. I think Dustin's behind in the chat.
Yeah,
somebody's behind in the chat. Do you have cards that are like buy or pass factor when it comes to a deck, like in terms of how it's depicted? I don't necessarily always buy or pass, but I do really like a 9 of cups that I will like, and I like when I like the chariot and the star card, the strength card. Actually, I'd say strength, star, and 9 of cups are my top 3 that I want to like. I could also be pretty opinionated about the hermit card too. If it's really weird, or the death card. If those are really weird or they feel really off-putting, that can be a problem. The Lovers is choice, not Valentine's. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about judgment first. Traditional judgment shows bodies rising out of coffins. Oh, she thumped my mouse. Okay. Bodies rising out of coffins or ascending, and an angel calling them home to heaven, which is not a relatable image for a lot of us, but it is relatable for some of us, and that's totally fine. Okay, there's 2 major things to...
I think the stereotype is relatable, though, even if...
That's true. There's 2 major components to the judgment card that will help you remember it. One is the rising out of the grave part, and the other is the horn being blown part, okay? So there are 2 kind of key pieces to keep in mind. There is a call. So there is some kind of an impetus or impulse. There's a call. You know how you hear the term, like, I hear the call, or I'm heeding the call? That's kind of the call is a very important aspect to the judgment card. And then the other important aspect is the part where you see these people rising from their graves. Ideally, in theory, we see them rising to heaven. So they are evolving in a way, right? They are ascending. Okay. So when you think of the judgment card, think of the call to ascend or the call to evolve. You're basically being inspired or poked at by the universe, by spirit, by however you want to think about it, by life. There's an impetus to step your game up. Okay. There's an impetus to level up. If you're a gamer, think of it like you have the XP. Now put that XP into action and apply your new skill points so that you can now do more and better with your life. Okay. So think of the judgment card as the call to evolve. And so let's show a couple of other examples. Here is the rebirth card, which is the judgment card from the Druidcraft Tarot. And if you look, the word I actually use in Tarot with Training Wheels is evolution. We are evolving. Now, in the rebirth card, what we're seeing is somebody emerging from a cave. The idea is that they have basically died and they're now being reborn a little smarter, a little wiser than they were before. That's the idea of like the whole past life evolution concept. You'll often see a phoenix depicted in the judgment card, but here's another example from the Lightseer's Tarot. Here we see somebody whose spirit is kind of coming out of her body and rising up. The idea is that there's another really good one from Poppy Palin's Everyday Enchantment deck, where you see a girl who's at a party. Everybody around her is like drinking and smoking, and like, this is not a judgment. I'm not judging anybody who parties, so I just want to make that clear. But she's at this party, and the front door to this party opens up, and there's an angel outside holding a horn, and she's taking one last look behind her at the party, and she's walking through the door. She's stepping up. She's stepping her game up. She's like, okay, it's time for me to grow up and out of this. This is not serving me anymore. I need to step into a new way of being, a better way of being. So oftentimes I see the judgment card as a wake-up call to do better, to level up, to step into more of your higher self, to if you game, the leveling up is, I think, one of the best ways to think about it. Rainbell says, I see it as self-judgment and self-forgiveness, which is needed to evolve. This is another great way to look at it. In reality, the judgment card is based on the Christian concept of your soul being judged at the end of your life and deciding whether you get to go to heaven or not. And so when you apply that to, if you get away from the religious connotations, if they're uncomfortable for you, and you look at it as the idea of what does that mean for me in my actual day-to-day life? Well, it might mean that I keep just thinking step my game up, because that's the thing. It's like you're being asked to be a better version of yourself in some way. You're asked to evolve, to to, if you're into Pokemon, that kind of evolve, right? Like you have more skills, you have more to offer, you have more to expect of yourself. So there's an ascending, there's a leveling up. When we look at that in contrast to justice, so let's take a look at justice briefly, because these two cards always get mixed up because they're both J's. They both kind of sound legally, they kind of sound court-ish. And we take a look at justice. In the traditional tarot, we have a woman here who is holding a scale and a sword. So the scale representing fairness and equality, the sword representing actual consequences that can happen. Like, hello, if you were in a medieval court, you could get your head chopped off. Okay, I'm sorry to be gruesome. I'm just saying, like, that's what I think of, right? The sword is the consequence. It's like what happens when something's not being done correctly. When there's an action, there's a consequence. So my favorite keyword for this card, or one of my favorite keywords, is consequence. Consequences can be good or they can be bad. If you if you pay for the person's coffee behind you, maybe the next time they spot your car, they pay for your coffee in front of them. There's a certain karmic element to the justice card. The idea is that every action you take will have some kind of a reaction. And I talk about this as well, like I said, in Tarot with Training Wheels, the video where we're going through cards. I can't remember if this is in the first or the second lesson on the majors. Can't remember where the 11 landed. I think it's in the second lesson of the majors. So the lesson number 4, I believe. But anyways, I talk about that a bit as well. No, we're calling it the Fall Fest. Fall Fest.
Sure.
Fall Fest.
Sure. Fall Fester. Festering fall.
No, Fall Fest.
Fall down.
No, Fall Fest. We're not doing this again.
Oh, we are. We just have to do the
Anyways.
right thing. Just resonates in the right way.
The Tower, bam. Judgment is literally the call across the bridge. Transformation. Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. What did somebody said something that I missed? I'm picky about the Lovers, but nobody gets it right, so I just deal. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Lovers, I promise. Okay, so that was Justice and Judgment. How are we all?
More than one more of these. I think you're going to need to do these for like.
Well, we'll see. So, how are you feeling, guys, about the Justice and Judgment card right now?
They fall down.
I need to try and stay on track because I do want to make sure I get through a couple questions. So let me know if that one's good. We're going to move on to Temperance, and then we're going to talk Lovers.
September shenanigans.
I call it the Fall Fest, y'all. The name is already decided.
You decided?
Absolutely, I decided. You know why? Because I make the damn thumbnails. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just have to think of something better to call it when the live actually starts.
Fine. Bye, Rebecca. Christy, no. Okay. Well, we're talking about the September shenanigans. I'm going to move on to the Temperance card. 5 and 7 of Wands both are fighting. Oh, that's a good question. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. Can you fish out 5 and 7 of Wands for me? And in that deck?
In order for you.
And in that deck?
What?
Yep.
5 and 7 of Wands.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we're done with Justice. We're done with Judgment. Justice and Judgment. Okay, so these ones are done. Done with these. Okay. So let's talk about. Oh, did I put away the wrong card? Oh, no, I didn't. Wait, yes, I did. Hold on. Okay, yeah, I did. Okay. All right, let's talk about Temperance. So Temperance traditionally, okay, I'm gonna put those away. Okay, so Temperance, we have an angel with 1 foot on land, with one, with 1 foot on land, with 1 foot on water. And she or he, this is a very gender neutral kind of character. They are running 2 cups. One looks like it's made of gold. One looks like it's made of bronze or brass or copper or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at that part. But anyways, they're pouring liquid back and forth between the 2 cups. And if you look closely, the liquids aren't the same color. So it's darker blue near the gold cup, and it's a little bit lighter up near the copper cup. We'll call it copper. Okay. We look into the Druidcraft Tarot, and we have the Feralt. This is somebody who is like alchemizing liquids into a cauldron. I'm going to say I'm mixing all my metaphors, but they're using a bunch of liquids. They're obviously brewing some kind of potion. We'll just call it that. And then in the Lightseer's Tarot, our Temperance figure is literally harnessing and balancing the powers of the sun and the moon. Now, my favorite keyword for, thank you, honey. My favorite keyword for, one of my favorite keywords for Temperance is equilibrium. Okay. Because what we're trying to do in the Temperance card with the Temperance energy is we're trying to not let opposing energies, either one, dominate, right? So we're thinking about duality, staying away from extremes, moderating. We don't want to be all sun. We don't want to be all moon. We don't want to be all fire. We don't want to be all water. We don't want to be all on land or all in the sea. We don't want to be at when we think of life or situations in our life as a spectrum or a scale, we don't want to be at either end of that scale. We want to be kind of somewhere closer to the middle-ish. You know what I mean? So traditionally, temperance, what do we temper? We temper steel, right? We temper our anger. Tempering is like the idea of bringing down something heat. We temper chocolate, right? What do we moderate? Because moderate's another great word for temperance. What do we moderate? We moderate drugs and alcohol. We might, need to use those things in moderation. We might moderate how much our times, how much time
sure they were
the last cards. I did it just for you, babe. We might moderate how much time we spend on our screens, how much time we watch TV. We might moderate our children, how much time that they spend in front of screens versus playing outside, for example. We might eat in moderation. So think about moderation and temperance. Balance. Yes, exactly, Christy. Temperance is historically depicted as a hermaphrodite. Yeah, you're often seeing a gender neutral kind of figure of some kind, or like you said, hermaphrodite, which would show anyways, multiple genders. The idea is that you're not in polarity, you're in duality, right? So thinking about temperance as duality and harmonizing dualities, harmonizing opposing forces. Harmony is a good word for temperance in general. You're looking to stay in a place of balance. I think it's easy to think of justice as balance, but I find balance a more appropriate word for temperance because balance is what we're trying to do. We're kind of trying to bring things again into equilibrium so that nothing is kind of askew, right? We don't want to spend so much time at work that we're not leaving any time for our life. We don't want to spend so much time playing that we're sucking at our job and get fired. You know what I mean? This is kind of the thing we're doing in temperance, right? Which is a very similar thing to the Two of Pentacles, only in temperance, it can apply to a lot more things. Alana says, I read temperance as the working together or things coming together. Yeah, that's true. And going through the tempering melting process to get rid of impurities, says Sugar Shock. Yes. So part of tempering is kind of, I clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. Through the smelting process. Tempering smelting process to get rid of impurities. Yeah. So when we do this, when we kind of bring ourselves into balance, we're kind of staying away from extremes that throw us off course. So that's a way to look at temperance. One way to look at temperance. Okay. Let's take a look at, and I think we might have to wrap this one up here pretty soon. We're going to talk about the Lovers, and then we're going to get into this 5 of Wands, 7 of Wands confusion. Okay. The Lovers. Now let's go in our classic one first. Here's our Lovers. Okay. I wish I had a Marseille deck in front of me because I think it illustrates what the Lovers is about much more than the Rider-Waite-Smith does, in my opinion. In the Rider-Waite-Smith, we see two figures, very Adam and Eve references here. We have the man standing in front of the tree of life that is on fire. We have the woman standing in front of the tree of knowledge, which has the apples and the snake, right? So it's a very reminiscent to the Garden of Eden and the idea of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. So if you go back, Dustin has a great deep dive into this card. So I'm probably getting all of this material from Dustin, but just so y'all know. So check out Dustin's deep dive on the Lovers. But the Tree of Life, the story with the Eden story is really kind of interesting because the idea is that Eve has a choice. The snake offers her a choice. He says, okay, do you want to know everything? Basically, do you want to know and be like the gods? Here, have this apple. And she gets to choose. Do I want to remain in ignorance, right? Am I going to commit to this life in Eden and remain in ignorance? Or am I going to take a chance and eat this apple and possibly gain all of this knowledge? We know what she chooses in the story. She chooses to take a bite of the apple. But she gets thrown out of Eden. There's a consequence for that, right? But the point is there was a decision in front of her of what's she going to do? What's she going to commit to? And either choice is going to change the course of her future. The Lovers card is often more about choice than it is about romantic love. And we often think that it's about romantic love. And I think part of the reason that we think that this card is about romantic love is A, the name, but B, because what is one of the choices that we make in life that involves changing the course of our life forever? For a lot of us, it's choosing who we're going to spend our life with. So when you're thinking about choosing a lifetime partner, as an example, for those of us that choose that for ourselves or are in a position to choose that for ourselves, making the choice of who you're going to spend your life with is making a commitment to a particular lifestyle with a particular person for potentially the rest of your life. That is a huge choice, and it involves a huge level of commitment because whatever you choose is going to set you on a particular path. That's what we're seeing in the Lovers card. Yes, it's represented often in images that show us romantic love. Yes, absolutely. But really what we're doing in this card is we're making a commitment to a course of action or to a path we're going to take on our life. Now, one of the really cool things about the Marseille system and historical tarots is that what you see in this card is not two people. Where did my card go? There it is. You don't see two people with an angel above. What you see is one person, usually a male figure, trying to choose between two women. Usually one who looks a little more chaste and one who looks a little more sexy. I don't know what their word is. I'm trying to think, but you get the idea that you've got two different personalities. And this particular dude in the card is trying to choose. Am I going to pick the woman who's going to be more maybe the good mother to my children or whatever, the more chaste looking one? Super, like, this is very outdated shit, right? Okay, but are you trying to choose between this one, or are you trying to choose this one over here that maybe seems more exciting? It's the same kind of choice we see in the Adam and Eve story. Do you choose to stay in the Garden of Eden, Garden of Eden, and not risk anything? Or do you take the bite out of the apple and change the course of your life forever? Which do you choose? And that's what we're seeing in the Lovers card. But we get very hung up on the fact that it's a couple. And it can be that, right? Because of course, when we're choosing our life partner, that's huge. So this can be the card about meeting your soulmate, or it could be the card about your significant other, or it could be the card about your spouse, or about your marriage, or about your relationship. But it can also be about anything that you choose to commit to, right? Love, this card. But it does get confusing for that reason. I just went off on a total rant about the Lovers and I missed all of the comments. I love all of the stuff that you guys are throwing in the chat here. This is awesome. Yeah. Yep. Love it. Okay. So we've covered the Lovers. I hope that brought some clarity to whoever asked the question about the Lovers. I forgot who that was. I'm sorry. Okay, so lastly, we're going to cover the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Wands, and then I think I'm going to wrap this session up. Don't forget, we are going to be having another one of these Q&A check-ins during Tarot with Training Wheels. I was going to give you guys the date. Let me give you the date for that. So our next live Q&A check-in for Tarot with Training Wheels is going to be on October 16th. So October 16th, we will have finished. Let's see, we're going to be doing 1, 2, 3. It'll be right after we finish the minor arcana and before we get into the court cards. So we will have another one of these live sessions between the minors and the courts so that we can kind of go over more of the questions you guys might have about the minor arcana. I know we're covering a whole bunch of stuff today, but I'm sure there will be more questions then. And then, of course, this alliance, because Tarot Bootcamp with beginners is a go at your own pace. I don't know where you'll be in that course when we have our next check-in, but it'll be a great place to bring your questions from that course as well if you're taking Tarot Bootcamp. Alana, yep, you fucked it up for all of us. It's a word. Yes, there is people that assign them who are associated. We're having a whole gender conversations, like comments. I love it. That's great. Keep chatting amongst yourselves. 5 of Wands, 7 of Wands. Okay, they are so interesting how you said they're both fighting, and I pull up the light seers and they're not both fighting. Isn't that interesting? But in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, can you grab me the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Wands from this deck? It's mostly in order. So it should be pretty easy. 5 and 7, please. Okay, let's take a look at the 5 and 7 classically. So here's the 5 of Wands in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Bunch of guys. Who's got the biggest stick? They're having their whole little competition here, their whole contest. The thing about the 5 of Wands, which often gets confused.
That was easy.
It was easy.
That's why you did this. Yeah.
That's right. Because I needed to be quicker because I'm hosting the thing. Let's get back onto tarot if y'all don't mind, because I just want to make sure we get a chance to wrap this up talking about the cards. If that's okay, please. Yeah, so yeah, LOL, biggest stick. Exactly. So the 5 of Wands, we're seeing a competition happening. And often the 5 of Wands is a very good-natured kind of competition. Not always, but it's definitely some kind of like game or sport that people are participating in. So there's a kind of an element here of choosing consciously to engage in a thing that puts you in competition with others, right? So that's what's happening here in this card. In the 7 of Wands, we have one person up on top of a hill. They look actually giant compared to the landscape, which is kind of interesting. But they're up kind of on a high ground. They're on some kind of cliff. And around them, we have the idea of all these people surrounding them with wands, right? And they're coming at them. so there's a feeling of being kind of this everybody's participating equally. They might not be equal in strength and they might not all win at the end, right? But they're all participating. They're all actively engaged on level ground, right? So we're all coming at it from the same place. In the 7 of Wands, we have one person up here trying to defend their position on top of a higher ground, and they're being surrounded by 6 other wands. So this can be a card about competing, about engaging in something where maybe we're all going for the same position at work. Maybe we've got people being a little bit competitive back and forth, all that kind of thing, right? But in the 7 of Wands, we have one person who's trying to hold off 6 other people. And you can look at that a bunch of different ways. Could this be that this person who's up on this higher ground feels like they have the higher ground and that they need to just fight everybody coming at them? Or maybe it's the idea that so maybe they're being over defensive, right? Maybe it's like maybe they don't need to be so protective of their specific position. Or maybe it's that everybody else is kind of ganging up on them and dogpiling them a little bit, and they need to hold their ground in order to stand by their own principles. I like to think of the 7 of Wands often as we're standing our sacred ground. There's something that's important to us, and we feel like we need to stay on we need to hold our ground. We need to hold our position because it's important to us, right? But in the 5 of Pentacles, it's not like one group is attacking another group. Everybody's engaged in the competition equally. So that's really the big difference, in my opinion, between these two cards. When we look at it here, we can really see it illustrated a lot differently. In the 5 of Wands in the Light Seers Tarot, we see, again, everybody's like kind of playing around with their sticks. They're all doing the thing. They're all trying to figure it out. They're all kind of competing. But in the 7 of Wands, she's here and she's like, I'm just going to stay in my truth, y'all, and you can keep coming at me, but that's fine. I'm in my bubble. Look at her bubble. She's like, I know where I stand. I know what I stand for, and I'm just going to be here, and y'all can keep coming at me if you want, but that is not what I'm about, right? Same thing. If we look at the 5 of Wands in the Druidcraft Tarot, I can't stop looking at the chicken because Danny Mystic has a take on this card that I think is freaking great, right? The 5 of Wands here, we have the chicken off to the side. Just kind of, I'm just going to like peck my ground here. I'm just going to do my thing. You guys be over there fighting. That's fine, but I'm not going to get involved. And Danny says sometimes we need the chicken, right? Sometimes we need to be the chicken. Sometimes we need to not be getting into the fray. Sometimes we just need to be on the outside looking in. But anyways, we still have this competition and this fight happening. But here in the 7 of Wands, where my keyword is defend, we have somebody at the top of the wall trying to stave off all of these people that are coming on. So I think the thing is that we need to remember that one is about a bunch of people all on the same playing field competing. And this one is about somebody being like on top defending their position, right? Very, very different things. So yeah. But yeah, let's keep it on track, y'all. So that is the 5 of Wands versus the 7 of Wands. Cyan says the 7 of Wands feels like a black sheep card to me. It can be. Sometimes when you're the 7 of Wands, you're literally feeling like the outcast, like everybody's kind of out to get you. That can be a part of reading that card. I think it's really important. Corey says you aren't paranoid if everyone is really out to get you. Agreed. Yeah, and this is the nuance of that card. And this is the cool thing about tarot. You look at an image like that and you can look at it so many different ways. Is he really being attacked, or is he just like proactively thinking they're attacking him? What if they're all coming up to just have a conversation? Okay, unlikely. I'm just saying. It's possible. As a reader, you get to explore those nuances when you are pulling a card based on the situation, based on the question, all of that stuff. So I think that's a really important nuance to consider. Toadstool Tarot says 6 of Wands is like somebody from the 5 who has won, and the 7 has to defend their win. That's a great point. So if we look at the 6 of Wands, which is all about victory and success and stuff, I can feel my voice going, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But if we look at the 6, right? So we went from the 5.
You know, make your voice feel better?
What?
Ironing.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Trust me.
Mm-mm.
Trust me. 4 or 5 hours of that, you'll. If you
don't offload your work on me. Okay, 5 of Wands, competing. 6 of Wands, victory and external recognition, right? And then the 7 of Wands, defending. So Toadstool Tarot, Robin's point here is really great. When we start to look at the progression of the suit, you can start to see a story unfold in each suit, which is a really great way to get to know the energy of the cards. It's not just thinking about the standalone card, but what came before, what comes after, what's the storyline of that suit. And there are actually a couple of decks that do a really good job of kind of illustrating that, which is really great. So yeah. Thank you guys all so much. I feel like I just barely scratched the surface for some of the questions, but I think a lot of the things we covered today answered a lot of the questions that were already asked. I would love to continue to hear your guys' feedback about how you're enjoying Tarot with Training Wheels and how you're enjoying Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, because I think that's really helpful to find out how it's working for you guys. I want it to be as helpful to as many people as possible. And knowing that we have another of these coming up, we just keep in mind.
I got it.
Thanks, babe. Now that we have another one of these coming up, just kind of log your questions in your mind so that you're ready for the next stream. And maybe make a note of them as you go through the minor arcana in Tarot with Training Wheels, so that when we have our next stream, you're ready with all of the other questions that have bubbled up for you as you've gone through the videos. And again, don't worry if you get behind.
Oh, Barb got it first. Barb got it first.
Good job, Barb.
I'm like, why is this not clicking properly?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So thank you all so much. And
screwed up Barb's.
Oh, that's okay. And the next lesson, so we'll be getting into the wand suit next week on Tarot with Training Wheels. That video will be coming out on Tuesday at 8:00 Pacific time, and then we'll be continuing the minor arcana after that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all later.
Yeah, bye guys.
Don't forget to like.
Have a great day, afternoon, evening,
Like
whatever it is
the stream.
that you're going into now.
Yeah, like the stream, subscribe if you're new here, click the notification bell, make sure it says all if you want to make sure you actually get the notification. And if you do most of your YouTubing on your mobile device, make sure that you have enabled the notifications to actually come through on your mobile device, or you won't get them, because that's how it all works. So thank you all so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.